Vulcan Soapbox.
Oh, that was fast. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. What's going on? You're tuning into the Vulcan Soapbox. I'm your gracious host, Enos, man. We're going to talk about a variety of topics, stuff that's going on in the social media world. But first, let me introduce my panelists, man. Shout out to Victor. What's up, man?
What's up with it, brother?
What's up, man? Glad to have you back. What's up, Only Facts and Stats? What's up, man?
Shout out to the brothers, man. How's it going? Victor, Vulcan, Enos, what's going on once again?
Yes,
We
yes.
in here, brothers. We in here.
Yes, yours truly, man, my God, man. Vulcan, what's going on, man?
What's the deal, all my folks out there? I'm excited for today's show.
Yeah, man.
Let's get to it.
I'm gonna get right into it. The first video. Like I said, we cover a variety of topics: religion, relationships, all you can think of. And this first video, I thought this was a pretty good topic. I want to get y'all thoughts on this. Make sure I'm seeing the screen. All right, let's go. Oh, here we go. Make sure that volume's down.
Give me chills, and it all makes sense. This video gave me chills, and it all makes sense. Just listen to every word that he says.
Let me get this straight. You want me to consider a religion that has a God that didn't only not do anything about slavery and the horrors associated with slavery, but ordained it, actually did it. How on earth do y'all walk around telling people about a good God? God is good all the time, but overlooking the horrors of slavery. Have you ever looked into what happened to us? Do you even care? We don't always know why God do it. How can a people defend and crave for a religion that was given to them by the ones who killed them, who tortured them, who thought that they were not even human? I understand. And not only did they give it to you, but I know, bro. I know. You freaking fight me to hold on to what your slave masters do. I can't believe I was blinded. Wake up! Wake up! Scared. All right. If a God did exist and knew and could have prevented that, I don't love that God. How can you? You wouldn't love me if I hurt your child. If I just hurt him, not kill him, hurt your child. You would want me unalive for hurting your child. But yet you come to me with a Bible and a God that don't even care about kids getting cancer. Y'all need another God.
I put his TikTok name in the description of this video. Make sure you guys go give him a follow.
All right, fellas, his words hit deep. Time to open your third eye. Let's start with, I'm sorry. All right, got my screen up. Get y'all on the same screen. All right, we good. Let's go. Only Facts and Stats. What's up, man? What you think? You agree or disagree with the video?
I might be the wrong one to start with on this one.
Might be. Okay. Let me get.
Yeah.
Let's get my guy Victor in here, man.
I don't have an opinion. I think religion is a individual interpretation. You got to know the source of a person, of a person's moral compass, and how objective they are and where they place religion in their life.
Okay. Yeah, so it depends on the individual, how they. Okay. All right. Let me.
Go ahead.
No, you fine. What you was about to say?
Well, and I say it like this. There are some people that are very well versed in using any type of doctrine, religious texts for manipulation purposes. A lot of people try to use religion as coping mechanisms. A lot of people are more in love with their anger than salvation. I think people on their level of emotional discipline and proximity to the teachings that they've had throughout their life and their individual experiences, their belief system is going to be cultivated off of that. You know, I think most people, personally thinking, I think most people need to go to therapy first to understand how to apply what they learn in religious texts, and going from there. I think you have to be taught on how to apply everything. I don't think that you have to be ruled by every single thing that you read. I think you have to know what's meant to be applied. I think there's a level of tact and discernment that's applied to everything that you know. We know bad things about people in our families, but we don't make it public information all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I think you have to have that same level of discernment.
I got you, man. So yeah, it takes somebody to, and depending on the person how they interpret what they read, I get the level of discernment to, to really understand why certain things happen. Let me bring my guy in. Facts, you good now?
Well, so looking at the video, right? What I think they was alluding to in the video, and I don't know, I've never seen the video, but the way he was talking about how slavery and the people that follow slavery and how can you, so I think they was trying to say, like, because that's a routine argument that's brought against Christianity.
Yeah.
That, Christianity taught the slaves to honor the slave master and and to maintain the subjugated position, right?
Right.
And there's an argument to that, right? I don't think that when people make that argument that it's a genuine argument, because even if that was kind of taught to slaves, it was a manipulation. It wasn't really a true guidance from Christianity. I myself am not a Christian, so don't think I'm advocating a particular religion, but to deny that there's a creator, I think, is, just from personal perspective, is almost idiocy. You know what I mean? Because there are too many things that show us that a knowledgeable creator exists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get the
right?
knowledgeable creator exists.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So
I was just going to ask, do you think these are? I was just going to ask this question. Do you think is a legit claim to consider? Is that legit for him?
That no creator exists?
No. The part as far as the why evil's in the world, that the slavery pertaining to black people, is that a legit claim to question it, if the creator exists? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep stepping on you, bro. My bad.
No, it's fine. You were absolutely right. The question of the creator is this because of these things that happen. Is that a legit claim to
I don't think it's legit.
Okay.
I think that a common sense approach to it would be, because we have a limited free will, that bad created things do bad things. That doesn't mean that the creator created you to do bad things.
All right. So let me jump in. I'm just going to say this: what the critiques this guy has or Christianity, you can have them same critiques in all religions, because you go to the Eastern philosophy, yin and yang. So all religions do acknowledge that evil do exist in the world. It's not just Christianity. You can't just isolate Christianity. All spiritual practice actually acknowledge that evil is running rampant in the world. Let me bring my guy, before I bring Vulcan in here, I got some, you have something else you want to say? Facts?
What I was gonna say that's just a common critique of Christianity that I've heard, kind of what they were making on the video. That's something I brought Christianity in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me bring in Shirley Latour says, I would rather be a slave to Christ than a slave to this world. Praying for you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shirley, for your comments. All right, man. Vulcan, what's your thoughts on here?
I try to take some decent notes so that I wouldn't miss anything. But as the guys have already said, it's something that's constantly in circulation on the internet, on TikTok, on all types of social media. And I don't get how it's gained so much steam from an intellectual standpoint. I get from an emotional standpoint, and I think I'll lead with that. This should show about critical thinking and reason, and it's definitely an appeal to emotion fallacy. Like they know they can rile us up and stir us up when we talk about slavery. We talk about the plight of African Americans during chattel slavery, and then on all the way to Jim Crow until today. And so it gets us stirred up and riled up, and so we're more likely to act irrationally and believe things on bad faith, bad evidence. This is a classic example. So when he talks about didn't do anything about God, didn't do anything about slavery, you have to really kind of figure out for yourself what that means. So God could stick a God hand or whatever kind of apparatus and grab something and pick it up, or smite people just by, Thanos snapping his finger and stuff like that. Maybe just people randomly fall out. That's not how Muslim and Christian and Jewish theology typically operates. God works within man. God uses mankind. So that's what we see as the general narrative of the Abrahamic faiths. That being the case, how it would look is that God moving the hearts of men to take action to get rid of slavery. We talked about this numerous times. The early abolitionists were Christians that fought against slavery. The most published preacher in history, Charles Spurgeon, over in Europe, was well known, documented for they would publish his stuff in London or wherever the paper was at the time, and somewhere in Europe. And sometimes they would want to publish it because he was so anti-slavery. So this is a well-documented thing. I think people got to look at it from a global scale and realize that slavery was happening all around the world. What civilization, what movement started to try to eliminate slavery? And why did they do it? Slavery is still taking place around the world. In Africa, different places that's been taking place. It ended recently or still going on. There's more slavery today than there was in the past. And so when people are making it a focus of Christianity dealing with slavery, I think it's just a bad faith argument because of the fact how widespread it was. Now, so I've already mentioned the fact that God did move the hearts of men, which you see in the Bible and you also see happen in the real world, to eliminate slavery. But the secondary, it says the religion given to them, that's again, the audience out there, that's genetic fallacy. When somebody's asking you to disbelieve a certain thing based off where it came from, that's called a genetic fallacy. It just means that you're disqualifying a belief or an idea, not based off whether it makes sense or you've intellectually thought about it and vetted it out properly to make sure that it makes sense, but based off its origin. So if somebody, if a vagabond came to you and told you, hey, look, right now, this is what's happening in the stocks. And you'd be like, it's a street urchin. I'm not going to listen to him. That would be genetic fallacy. He could be telling the truth. He could be not. Now, if you're not listening to him because you don't feel like it, that's one thing. But if you're saying he can't be right just because of who he is, that's genetic fallacy. And so in the same way, just because the slave master taught something to the slaves, they taught a lot of things to the slaves.
Yeah.
Not just religion. So we're gonna say everything that the slaves learn in that system is bad. You mentioned math, whatever type of science, how to cook, whatever going on in that system. For a lot of slaves, the Bible was their liberation. That's how they learned how to read. It's the most published book. It's the most stolen book in the world. So I think counter the narrative that we see. It's actually something that's been used to alleviate suffering. And we see wherever Christianity is the main religion in the world, there's liberty, there's freedom. Women receive a lot of freedom. People have more freedoms because, according to the Bible, there is no slave nor free. There is no Greek nor, I can't remember what that other term was, but it says there's no, they're all one. There's no male, there's no female. They're all one in Jesus, meaning that none of them have any more intrinsic value worth than the other. One of the things that was debated during the slavery times was, do Black people have souls? Do Native Americans have souls? That seems silly to us on this side of it.
Mm.
But in a time where people were stayed to their tribes, and you had to cross, oceans and long bodies of water and life on the other side will be radically different, plant life, human life. And you might even be the same people that started the journey may not even finish the journey, whether if you cross an ocean and stuff like that. So you're meeting people that look way different than you, speak way different than you, have radically different religious beliefs. People are sacrificing hearts on a temple. Some people are burying, the wives to finish their reincarnation. You got all kinds of different practices going on. You got, prostitution going on. And so you have all these things going on as a form of worship. And so all these practices now, from our Christian lens today, if you grew up in the Western world, from your Christian lens, you don't see most of that stuff because a lot of that stuff's been eliminated by Christianity, and also Muslims have as well. So you don't see it. So to us, all of them look kind of alike.
Hmm.
But the reality is, especially at the time they were living, and even to this day, the time they were living, these religions look radically different from each other. It wasn't, you could optically see the different cultures and the different ways of viewing the world based off their spiritualities and cultures. It was easy to spot. Before globalization, everybody able to mimic each other, and technology pushing us all into one funnel for advancement. So I just want to say, when it comes to the topics that he's saying, for most of this stuff, it's just an appeal to emotions. There's no good reason to think that it has any type of real sustenance that we should pull from. And then they're trying to pull people out of it and saying, how can you, be woke, or how can you fall victim to these types of things and listen to what the slave master taught you? Christians been practicing Christianity way before there was chattel slavery, way before there was the Arab slave trade. One of the oldest churches in Ethiopia, we've talked about it numerous times. So you're thinking way later in history. Christianity's been around for over 1,500, 1,600 years by the time chattel slavery is going on. And you're going to say because a small group of people were teaching it to other people at that time, that means the whole thing is not right? It's silly. Historically speaking, the early Christians were slaves and poor people. The first 300 something years of Christianity, it was a little bit of everybody. It was primarily slaves. And the last piece I'll say about this point is that the Bible only gives prescriptions to Christians as far as the New Testament. It doesn't expect non-Christians to live as Christians. So when you see directives in the Bible about, slaves do this or don't do that, it's talking just to Christians. It's not telling a Muslim slave or atheist slave or Buddhist slave, do this. If you got 3 slaves, one's Buddhist, one's Buddhist, one's Hindu, and the other one's Christian. It's just telling the Christian slave who, of their own will and volition, has decided to truly believe in Christ. They could not believe. They can just pretend to believe if they have to for the master, or they can just not believe at all. I don't, depends upon their situation. But if they choose to identify as a Christian and live the Christ-like life, then there are certain directives that Christians are asked to follow or expected to follow. And so they do that. But it's not telling, so people say, well, it's telling slaves to obey their masters. It's not telling anybody that's not a Christian to follow anything. So that's what I'll say about those points that they made.
Yeah. Well, so y'all got it. Y'all want to add to that, Victor?
Yeah, I think number one is a choice to believe or choice to deny. And if a person wants to deny anything, they can shape any argument they want to deny. I just don't get involved with, I don't pay attention to things that don't align with the way I think. I don't get that way. You don't get offended by stuff that's not aligned with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like if y'all like brown teddy bears and I like blue teddy bears, you can't upset me about my blue teddy bear. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are prepared and committed to being disagreeable to say that your the thing that you care about the most is more important than mine, then at some point it looks like an inferiority complex if you feel like you got to bother me and I'm not bothering you about what you care about. It simply do not care about what
And
makes
well, I
other
want to.
people satisfied.
I do want to chime in.
And what I'm saying,
All right,
and
break it down.
let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead, break it down.
The people that are devout in their faith and discipline, people like that can't get to them. Like I lived and worked in Afghanistan, and I watched Muslims for 4 years pray 5 times a day, go to mosque on Fridays, and at no point did I see them, get upset about other people's belief system. They cared about their own. I think if you're focused on your own, then you don't have time to defeat other people about theirs.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. As far as the video was, I wanted to make sure what you're saying. The guy that was had disagreements with Christianity was that Christian should probably. Are you all right? Let me ask it this way: if somebody is devout Christian, they should just don't have put a lot of attention to what this guy is saying. Would your method still apply in that area?
Yeah, because
Okay.
your
That
belief
makes sense.
system is a discipline. It is
Okay. There we go.
a commitment. You should not be distracted by other people that don't share your same belief system.
Okay. What's your thoughts on that only facts stats?
I wanted to speak more to what Vulcan was talking about.
I'm gonna write that down there.
So I think Vulcan, kind of the position that you take that when it was talking to slaves, it was talking to Christian slaves. I think that's the basis for arguments like the brother was having in the video, right? Whereas you equate slavery in America and you kind of make it to where it was like all other slavery, right? Because that's basically what you said. You said that slavery didn't start in America. It existed other places. You even talked about the Arab slave trade in different places, right? But what people know is, and what's being more widely understood is that slavery never existed anywhere like it did in America, right? The antebellum slavery in America, the race-based slavery in America, the chattel slavery, where a parent would have a child and the child would also be property of the slave master, never existed anywhere else other than here on these shores, right? The fact that
you said a lot of things. Do you want to narrow? You got a particular question you want to ask Vulcan?
I'm making a point that
okay.
The way that he defended his position is the basis for a lot of people's point that the Christian religion is lacking because of what it caused the people in slavery to believe, right?
All right. Let me make a tip to stalemate. What Vulcan, do you understand what his statement is? Do you get it? Because I want to make sure I get it too.
I want to say I believe I get what he was saying, at least 80%, but I do think it was a number of points. So we don't mind making it a little more concise, like or picking one, and then we can just kind of go point by point if you don't mind.
I'm making a complete point. I'm not just making a multiple point. I'm making one complete point. Okay. That the way that you position Christianity to stand and in how you
can you state that real quick, because I felt like I made a number of points. I wrote down 3 points, when I watched
Well,
the
I'm gonna tell you
video.
the
So I
point
know
that
I
I
made
heard.
at
I'm gonna tell
least
you the
3
point
points.
that I heard that I want to hear from you about.
Yeah.
Is that you equated slavery in America to slavery everywhere
Oh,
else.
there we go.
Right?
That's one
You
right
made
there.
it seem the same, right?
Okay. All right.
And that and that based on that, well, let's just start there.
Yeah,
That
let's
you
start
made
right
it
there.
seem as though slavery in America was just
Let's
slavery in general, just
let's
like
get
it had been everywhere else.
all right. We're gonna get Vulcan to
Let's
ask
hear that.
him. Oh, shout out to Deshaun Parker. What up, gents? I don't know. Shout out to Deshaun. Go ahead, Vulcan.
So sorry. So because I know the shout out kind of threw me off. So the question was, what was again?
He said you comparing that the chattel slavery is the same as the slavery that was going on other places before American slavery.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. So the
Mhm.
thing is that it's same in the ways that make it slavery, right? But it's going to be different depending upon the region you're in and how they want to practice it. So that's what's going to make it difficult. Like African slavery may be different than Roman slavery, which may be different than Hebrew slavery, which may be different than Babylonian slavery, which may be different than chattel or Arab slavery, which might be different than Korean slavery, right? There's going to be
Okay, let me stop you
variations.
at one point, though. Let me stop you at one point.
Okay,
You
go
said
ahead.
it's the same because as slavery, right? Because it's slavery. What was the first thing you said? You said that it is slavery because it's just a slavery or whatever.
Well,
right?
I'm saying they're all the same in a sense they're all slavery, right? So what makes it slavery, they all have that in common, right? But that doesn't mean that every element is the same.
Every element as far as ownership?
What I mean
ownership is the same throughout time?
What I'm saying is that they're all the same in the sense of what makes something slavery. They all share that, right? So like I can get a mug, I can get a sports bottle, and I can get a regular plastic cup, and I can say all these are cups, right? Because what makes a cup, that all three of these things have in common.
Okay, let me say this. In America, slavery was ownership. In America, slavery was ownership. It was property. Are you saying that slaves were that slaves were property in all other forms of slavery? That's your understanding.
Take out all, and yes. To answer your question, yes, if you take out all.
Are you saying that under Arab rule, for instance, because I know a lot about Arab.
No, what I'm saying is that there was
hold on. On the fast. Hold on.
Slavery during the time in Arab.
Hold on. When just give the opportunity when you're speaking, he's trying to correct certain things. Go ahead and allow that room so y'all can have the common ground because he's probably about to answer a question you're about to ask. So just allow that to happen, you know. So y'all can continue. Just be mindful of that and during our exchanges. But,
yeah, you know, bro, we kind of going 1v1 and you cutting me off and you ain't cutting the other side off. Kind of let us go 1v1 or you moderate. Like you can't do both. You know what I'm saying?
What
I'm not really saying a whole lot. I mean, since my opening, statement I made.
But if you're making a point and then you're jumping to something else, I'm trying to stop you when you make the first point so that we can get clear there first, right?
Yeah. But if you ask the question, he's saying this is what I'm saying. You say, hold on. Allow the exchange. It's a back and forth. So it's not cutting somebody off. Allow the exchange to actually happen. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's cutting off, bro. Because listen, because even in the opening back and forth, like
I'm just saying exchange like a dialogue. That's what I mean. Just
right. I got you. But I'm saying like when I was making my opening about this topic, for instance, I only talked like 2 minutes. And you cut me off to move the mic, right?
Yeah, but I'm addressing it like what I'm doing right now. You made a point, right? Let me address that point.
Yeah.
The reason I cut you off because you made multiple points. So to make it easier for our audience and for all of us to follow, let's deal with point by point at a time. Not list all the points. That's why I cut you off at the beginning to make sure you structure the question or your statement, and we focus on one thing and then move it to your next point. That was my reason.
I want you to be mindful of this. I want you to be mindful of something, okay? I want you to be mindful of something.
Okay, I'll let me.
Okay, so when you introduce the topic, you move the mic from one brother to me to the other.
I don't know if we're gonna make the show about this. We want to make the show about this. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna.
Right. But I'm trying to level set something.
Right, go ahead.
Either we all getting the equal opportunity to be heard, or you know what I'm talking about, we not.
Yeah, we are.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this real quick. I mean, Enos is going to do the best job he can. It may not be 100% equal. So, you know, we all take our L's at times.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes and 2 minutes is a big difference, though, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, look at the comments we got.
All right, I'm gonna read the comments and we're gonna get back to the exchange and the questions you have.
Let's go ahead, bro. Let's go to the next topic. It's fine, bro.
No, we can finish. I would just want to get to the comments because it's related to this topic. All right. Are we addressing systematic slavery? Oh no! Shout out to Jessica Lynn Fraser. Poor or no wages, lack of health care, working simply to pay someone else to be able to approve. Is that what it is? To approve your way of life is not ever able to afford the average American. No standard of care for Black and brown people, just the minimum. All right, so I'm lost on that. All right, so look, the first topic. Let's just we can get some closure on this. Let's not just move on. The first statement you made was, listen, Vulcan is saying he's comparing like chattel slavery is the same as the slavery in the past. Y'all trying to get y'all what the disagreement is at. You saying you making sure to let Vulcan know, like, look, chattel slavery is way different. Ownership, a lot of egregious things happen in chattel slavery that didn't happen in other places in the world that was slavery. All right, so okay.
Slavery in America was I was a slave, my son was a slave.
Mm-hmm.
That never happened anywhere else in the world. That's my point.
Yeah, that part's not true. It definitely happened other places in the world.
Where did it happen?
Well, the thing is that I don't know if it's so much about me showing other places that it's happening. Because I don't know, is this really important to your point? I will address it if it's really important to your point, but I thought you had a larger point you were trying to get to.
My point was that the defense that you made is the reason that people argue that Christianity is a losing religion when compared to what it did to the people in slavery. That it makes you a slave. That it makes you, if you're a slave, to not resist slavery.
Okay, but see, to me, that seems a different point than the children. That's what I'm saying. Like it seemed like we got, which point is it I'm supposed to be addressing, the children thing? Because this right here is saying that, because you just said
slavery in America was never the same as anywhere else. That's my point.
Well, again, but I don't see why that's significant. The fact that it's not the same doesn't matter. No cup is the same. No people are the same. That doesn't mean we're not all people.
It's significant because when you tell people that the Bible is talking to Christian slaves, they are saying, they can make the argument then that, hey, in America, if Christian people in America who were slaves under antebellum slavery were told to honor their masters, then that is wrong. What I saw that the Bible was talking about, that when he was talking about honor your masters and all that, it was the people that you owe, not antebellum slavery. See, because prior to American slavery, when we talk about slavery in the Middle East and during the Arab times and all that, it was slavery based on you being in debt. That's how come the Bible talks a lot about don't be in debt. You know what I'm talking about? And pay your debtors, things like that. Right?
You want to respond to that?
That's what the Bible was talking about. It wasn't talking about people who are under oppression and things like that.
You're just mistaken about the Bible, because the Bible talks about multiple times of slavery. There's Egyptian slavery, there's Roman slavery, there was Hebrew slavery. That they didn't all have the same dynamics. I think you're just picking one type of slavery within the Bible and saying that doesn't apply to American slavery. Is what you
I said that the application of the Bible to slaves in America that was used by the slave owner was manipulation of the Bible. It wasn't application of the Bible.
No, we agree about that.
I agree on that.
That's a new concept. That's what I'm saying.
No, that was my entire point, that the people who make the argument that the brother was making in the video, that's the basis. And when you defended the way that you did, they continue to have this. You're not giving them information that enlightens them to not make that argument in the future. That's my point. That they still have the same basis for their argument that he made in the video.
Yeah, but I already rebutted the basis they had. I mean, I don't know how you're using the word basis. By basis, do you mean that's their reason?
We can move on, brother.
Victor, what do you think about this exchange, man? What's your thoughts? Well, Vulcan,
I think y'all
only
listen
facts.
to respond. I think Vulcan and Enos, I think you guys are listening to respond. He's trying to make a point in a certain context. I don't know if somebody's listening to debate or listening to have, you know what I'm saying, a better understanding of what the other person is saying. From my understanding,
All right, enlighten us.
the very I think everybody's okay with the principle that there's slavery in many forms. There is all types of activity associated with it. I don't the nuance of what people think slavery is, whether it be mental, physical, and the execution of it and all of that. In facts, but saying the reason why the conversation keeps coming up is because of the tonality and the context and the lack of nuance and education and specifics around it that keep inspiring that type of content to come out, because it's only spoken in a certain lane that inspires people that are already on the fence. That's all Only Facts was trying to say. I was listening to what he was trying to talk about. I don't think nobody is trying to defend it or justify it or discredit any belief system because of it. He's saying simply the conflict and the conversation that's around it comes from people wanting to debate the nuance.
Did you say that's pretty accurate? Only facts and stats.
Yes.
So the conflict comes from people trying to debate the nuance.
Yep, because they getting it's basically like getting the news. It's like people getting the news, getting the same story from different media channels and different media outlets, and then debating who said it and why they shouldn't trust it and which platform did it come off of.
All right, so Victor, I want to give Only Facts and Stats to make sure that you was actually stalemate them correctly. How do you the conflict debates
the conflict is because of the nuance.
Yeah, the nuance.
I think he was close enough that people use the nuance of Christians saying, of the Bible saying, Christians honor your slave master in application to the slaves in America, and to say that Christianity is not a religion that they should follow because it called people to accept oppression.
Okay. He's making an objective statement, and the people that get caught up in it, they using subjective interpretation, and then the other side can't hear the other. Somebody's just making a generalization of what they think and making an assessment.
All right, so all right, you was able to get close enough to Only Facts and Stats. What do you think Vulcan was saying? What do you think what he was missing? Were you able to stalemate him?
Just listening to respond, because I kept interrupting him. We didn't give him a chance to finish making his overall point, so we can level set the conversation. Because you can't stop from point. You can't stop from point to point to point and get the full picture with everybody.
Well, we were not asking about the point, so we were just trying to address each point. So because he's making a lot of statements, so it would be appropriate to.
And that's what I'm saying. He has to level set what his stance is. He's not being obtuse to hearing what's going on. Y'all got to listen to him and get his full picture, and then get it.
Okay, I get that. I get you say the full picture, but my thing is, I was curious because you got Only Facts. I was curious. I know you said that his tactics, you think that he was listening to respond. I was wondering, do you understand or got what Vulcan was saying during the whole ordeal? You know, if you don't, you don't.
I understood both sides of it. Okay, I understood both sides of it. Y'all was having two different conversations on the same topic. Somebody Jessica even in the content said, y'all not listening.
Yeah, not listening to each other. I seen that. Shout out to Jessica.
I definitely disagree that I wasn't listening, because if you notice, my responses were all questions. People that are listening to respond don't respond with questions. When you understand what listening to respond is, it means I already have my retort, my rejoinder what the person's going to say. It's not going to be a question. It's going to be a statement to address what's being said. I haven't done that. All I've been trying to do is really understand what the point was. So I don't see how that's me listening to respond when my attempt is to steal man. I'm like, are you saying this right here? Are you talking about this? I don't see how anybody on earth can take that as listening to respond. It makes no sense.
Well, I mean, I'm only saying how it's being interpreted, and
I agree with you
according to what
about
Jessica
that.
just said, yeah, and I'm talking about how it's being seen. You know, I
Yeah.
don't have an emotional investment in it at all. I'm just listening to it and I'm looking at it and I'm watching like a spectator. I'm just not in the comments, and I would be lost
Yeah.
as to what like what was trying to happen. But I know how it would be easily surmised if I had 5 minutes to watch and try to understand what was going on.
Yeah, I think it's funny because we talked about this on the show before about the purposes of interruptions, and it keeps coming back up on the show. So I think we probably should all do that again. It might be a good conversation. Excuse me, a good conversation. Sorry about that. But generally, for me, I mean, I'm just really trying to get an understanding. I haven't felt the need to really address what he said yet. Only point that I can remember making, this is not to you, Victor, but just to everybody that can hear it, that I addressed this when he said, "You're saying that this is the only place where it occurred." You know, are you saying that it occurred in other places other than chattel slavery, referring to the children being ownership? And I said, no, that's wrong. It's occurred in other types of slavery around the world as well. That's the only really point of fact that I made. After that, I just said, hey, look, do you want to address that? Do you want to go somewhere else? I thought I've been very accommodating in how I'm interacting in this conversation. Mainly questions. I mean, it's my show, and I'm mainly just asking questions. I'm not even making statements or, filibustering or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, I'm only talking about the perception I've seen, I get it. I do agree with you. It definitely there's other forms of chattel slavery that was happening in the same way that you described, where the entire bloodline of certain people were definitely like enslaved like that. Because the Muslim slave trade was going on a whole century before the transatlantic slave trade ever, was written about.
Can I interject real quick, Victor, at that point? I just want to say to heart of what we're saying, because I appreciate you saying that, and I hope that the audience can hear that, because I know there's other forms of slavery, as you mentioned, that have the children becoming slaves. I purposely didn't want to take the cheap win with only facts and stats on that point. That's why when he said prove it, I could have been like, well, I can just name a bunch of different slaveries that had it in there. I purposely said, hold on, is that your main point? Because I don't. This show's not about cheap tricks and cheap points and cheap wins. Whether I'm right or wrong about that point, I don't think it really addresses his overall point. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm not going to just throw in his face as these forms of slavery that did that. So I think if people can really see my heart in the conversation, they'll see these actually displaying a lot of patience and a lot of charity in the conversation. Thanks for pointing that out, though, Victor.
All right, and that was good. Like the for the audience to see, man, because sometimes people have misunderstandings of what their intentions are and why they how they approach certain conversations. So I think that's good. I believe we don't have to spend too much time on that. Help the Bear said, read some comments. Help the Bear says, soapboxes, what up? Shout out to Help the Bear. Jessica also in the comments, she says the Bible instructs slaves to obey their earthly masters with respect, but the instructions is to serve as if it were serving the Lord. And that this is done with sincerity of the heart, not for favor of the master. It does not say honor the master in the same way children are told to honor their parents. The Bible also tells the masters to treat their slaves justly with respect and not to threaten them. Shout out to Jessica Lynn Fraser. She also says, so we weren't listening only to listen to respond. As a woman, I know the difference. Shout out to Jessica. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, so I think we could. I want to get some closure before, because we 44 minutes in. I don't think we actually got common ground or closure on this topic. We can move on, but it's up to y'all. If y'all want to at least close it out.
Well, I think the only way to make it more constructive is there any disagreement still? I don't know if there's any disagreement at this point.
On the facts and stats? Any disagreements?
I think we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So,
Get out of here.
like,
This
Well, I guess
whole
I'll
first
end it
45 minutes.
topic just by saying this point right here
okay.
is you saw earlier posted the Bible talking about how to deal with slaves for the slaves and for the masters. The book of Philemon, is a good example of that, where it's a very short book, like 2 or 3 pages, and it's a whole book written to a slave master about a slave in particular. And he said that I'm praying that you would receive him back as a brother. And so even in the context of the Bible never encourages harsh treatment of slaves, as was pointed out, and you see an exchange in that book on how Paul instructs the slave master how to receive his brother back, who's also a slave. There's varying aspects of slavery, as only facts mentioned, about people selling themselves into slavery for famine. Roman slavery was different. Korean slavery was different. Native American slavery was different. African slavery was different. And there's different contexts. Slavery wasn't always a bad thing, depending upon the situation. If there was a famine in the land, sometimes people would become slaves to people who had resources just to save them and their family. Sometimes they'd even intermarry, and they may even have, they have children with the masters, daughters or sons and stuff like that. So that wasn't in all forms of slavery, obviously, but we'd have to do a deep dive on slavery. You can see all the similarities and all the differences. But when you talk about the entire globe of slavery, you're going to see a lot of parallels and a lot of differences.
All right. Shout out to my guy, Freshly Snipes, is joining us. What's up?
What's up? What's going on, gentlemen? Glad to be on the show.
Yes, man.
What up, brother?
What's up?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Glad to have you. Got some listeners said, what did I miss? You guys are talking about slavery. Yes, we are. We are talking about slavery right now. Gotta rewind so you can follow what we're talking about. Antoine Gis, my goodness. Shout out to Antoine. So yeah, so we can go ahead and moving on. Like for the audience, like this is a repetitive thing. We talk about race, religion, and these type of topics, and sometimes we get more in depth to give you a nuanced perspective. Next topic we're gonna go into is religion. I'm gonna get y'all. No, I'm sorry, relations. You know what? I'm a pivot.
Nope.
I'm a pivot. Yeah, I'm a pivot. Let's talk about this black fatigue, man. I think we need to do that.
Oh boy, here we go.
All right, here we go, y'all.
And this whole new thing called black fatigue, my worry is not that we have black fatigue now. My worry is what happens after black fatigue. I mean, once you hit fatigue, you start to get into the I don't give a fuck anymore category. And that's when things get dangerous, especially when white guys are pushing the I don't give a fuck anymore button. That's when things get really dangerous. And that's when things could become out of hand. And black people certainly don't want that. The country doesn't want that. That's what we have to avoid. That's where we have to worry about the fuse being lit. Because right now, I think people are still like, these blacks, I can't stand them, these Jews can't. But sooner or later, these laws and the antics, they can trigger you from being in one stage, which is the fatigue stage right now, to being at a point where, you know what, fuck these people. I'm already numb to the whole being called a racist thing. And the whole...
Fellas. Let me get y'all thoughts on this, man. Y'all agree or disagree? Let's start with Victor, man. Agree or disagree?
I'll say that I agree because it's going to affect the people that's going to put themselves in that situation.
All
know,
right,
so
we're gonna get you to
everybody.
break that down. So you agree? Let's get right to only fast. Talk to me, man.
I
Agree or
totally
disagree?
disagree. I believe it's more so.
I mean, we're gonna do disagreements now. We
Yeah,
40,
I
50 years.
disagree.
All
I
right, you
totally
disagree.
disagree.
Freshly Snipes.
You do me a favor and clarify what you're asking if we agree or disagree with.
As far as he said, the black fatigue, that the direction is going after black fatigue, what happens next? That this is not something the country wants, and other things
Oh,
that stood out. Whatever you disagree, whatever just it's up to you. We could address everything. Anything you agree or disagree with.
I mean, I agree that black fatigue is not something the country wants.
Mm. All right, let's start with. All right, and my guy Vulcan, what's going on, man? Agree or disagree?
I definitely agree as well.
All right.
Hey, don't agree with me, bro. Switch sides right now.
Before I bring my guy Victor in here to explain why Anton says black fatigue is so real and such a pain in the ass, and with these idiots. All right, be honest, Vic. He's talking to you. All right, break it down, Vic.
Well, here's the thing. I always say that there's dishonest people. Well, there's undisciplined and disciplined people. There's always going to be somebody to perpetuate a behavior, and there's always going to be somebody that's vehemently opposed. Let me tell you the reason why it exists, and it's already happening. Have you guys not seen the National Guard? The reason they're out, they're making it. It's easy to put it out about ICE. You know what I'm saying, and want to deal with the immigrants. But understand there's always a second and third tertiary reason why that level of authority would be used by the commander in chief. So yeah, they go to DC, they go to Memphis, they've gone to Chicago, and they've also been out in Los Angeles or whatever, recovering children, detaining people, deporting them, and all of this other good stuff, right? But the second and third order effect of the first choice was always to police up people that are ruining their own communities, that have routine, regular engagement. They become liabilities to security and overworking police and people that secure, assets and everything. And the people that fit behavior are always the ones that cannot protect themselves, but also only hurt the people that's in their communities. You know what I'm saying? And they can always use that as a reason to justify whether it comes from homelessness, poverty, crime, or whatever. And then the other part of it, the reason that it's true, is because there are many of black people that live in these communities that's saying, thank you, Donald Trump, for sending the National Guard. They, and the other part of it too,
Hey, and
is
I'm
being,
just remind you, he said be honest. I'm just making sure you're in that vein.
well, I'm being honest. Like, there's nothing I'm saying that isn't true,
Yeah, I'm joking.
And the other part too, like I said, there's multiple layers. This first level is ICE. Okay, they want to deal with Department of Homeland Security issues, and that's just it. Entering the country illegally, right? The second is going to be the people that's being policed in their own communities with an additional federal agencies on the ground. Okay, and then the third part is they're dealing with Antifa out west in Portland. The same force, the same action that's all being lumped in. All of these people are national security threats based on the guidance being issued by the president. Okay, so all of this is being lumped in and categorized as a national security threat. And yeah, they're going to deal with anything that threatens security. And it just so happens that the places where they focusing this on is where black people live.
I don't know if it's a just so happens type of thing. I think it's purposeful. It's intentional.
Let me tell you, they send immigrants and poor people where black people live. So it is a secondary and a third tertiary effect. That's just what it is.
That response to that, Fresh?
Yeah, I think it's, when you say lumped in, I think it's a marginalized community type of thing. So it's not just so happens. It's not like, well, you black people just happen to be here while we're doing this thing. I don't think that, based on the history of the country, based on a lot of other initiatives that have been seen dating all the way back to slavery. I don't think you can look at some of these things as happenstance. Like,
Okay.
oh well,
I don't.
if black people weren't there, it would still be happening there. I don't believe that.
All right.
Well,
I'm
let me.
gonna bring. Yeah, I like that. Go
I
ahead.
don't
Go ahead,
really
just
care.
because I want to bring. It's a lag. He just froze. All right. We didn't hear the last thing you said, Victor. I was going to bring only fast quick, but you just said it lagged.
I was about to say, I just don't think they care. I think they look at the behavior and that's it. They don't care about history. They're looking at what's happening right now.
Okay. All right. Let me bring only facts and stats in. You said you just slip. You said you agree or disagree.
I
I can't
don't
remember.
agree with him. I don't agree with the guy on the video. No.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and elaborate.
From what I understood his point to be was that black people are suffering black fatigue, and his question was what happens after the fatigue, right? And his insinuation was an attempt to put non-black people in fear of what black people may do as a result.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Which I think is absolute a crock of bull, right? Because what's true is white fatigue, right? That's what's going on. That's why when we look at what's going on with the dominant or the majority population, the things that they're doing and saying, not only in social media but in politics, that we are the dangerous group in America. When everybody knows black people are the nicest people you ever want to meet in your life.
All right. Good
Right?
stuff. Good stuff. Can you elaborate more on white fatigue? How do you define
White fatigue is when we see these people like those guys that were on there, Steven Crowder and all those guys who started to pop up ever since Charlie Kirk's demise, right?
Mm-hmm.
An attempt to paint black people with a brush that shows us in a negative light and having a negative impact on this country.
Okay. All right. All right. So my man only fact said the problem is not black fatigue. The problem is white fatigue. Let me get fresh in here. What's your thoughts, AD?
So I'm going to clarify my statement. While I do agree with the gentleman on the video that the country as a whole does not want to see what happens after black fatigue, I want to clarify that I don't believe in black fatigue. I believe in fatigue. I believe in perspective, difference of perspective. There's somebody who don't look like nothing like you or me that is tired of something that happens to them on a regular basis, whether it's their fault or not, right? Whether they are accountable for the things that are happening to them or not, right? Fatigue in general is a thing. Everyone is getting tired of something at all times. Black fatigue is not unique to black people. We're not even a monolith, right? There's black people in this country. To what Vincent was talking about, or excuse me, not Vincent, Victor was referring to, like there's black people who agree with Donald Trump, who support Donald Trump, right? Who support the administration and the party. To those people, this might feel like a breath of fresh air. So there's something being lifted off their shoulders. So I don't believe in black fatigue. I believe in fatigue, and that just comes with the difference of perspective, right?
Yeah.
There's brown fatigue, white fatigue, and again, I want to point out that this is not. It's a subjective thing, right? Fatigue is not objective past a certain point. Meaning, based on how someone is looking at their situation, they may be fed up.
Well,
and ready to do something about it.
If you don't mind, I want to interject just for the audience. How black fatigue is defined as black people being mentally exhausted of systematic racism. That's what black fatigue is, being mentally tired and exhausted from the experience of systematic racism. What they call a lot of stuff, daily microaggression and those kind of things. I'm gonna bring Vulcan in here. Oh, Jessica. Oh, you got. Oh, so I
Let
don't know
me
who
let
this.
me. Can I read the definition real quick, just to actual like, so we're not dealing with a paraphrasing of it.
Sure,
Yeah, so
sure.
we all speaking from the same definition for
But yeah,
sure.
so we're on the same page. Black fatigue refers to a state of emotional and physical exhaustion experienced by Black individuals due to constant exposure to racism, discrimination, said earlier, microaggressions. It is a term used to describe the psychological and physiological effects of living in a racially oppressive society.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Fresh. Thank you for that. Somebody said Cap. I think they was talking to. I don't know who they talk. Let's go down in the comments. Hey, Vulcan, what's up, man? I know you said you agreed, so that's that's the opposing side from Only Facts, man. So explain why you agree with the video.
My point is pretty simple. Just any type of fatigue is gonna once you get to that point of the fatigue, obviously if you're getting tired, you start to get the burn or this lactic acid when it comes to the body, or just in social situations. There's a
Your
certain
decision making process fails,
yeah, you start to
degrades.
people having mental issues, more civil unrest. All those things start to multiply as there's more fatigue happening by a larger percentage of the population. So if it grows, if it snowballs, it's just going to get worse, to where you start seeing it happen on a broader scale, on social media, in the political realm, all kind of different places. So to the extent that it can be alleviated, I think that people should work towards that effect, which I think his point is, what do we do about the Black fatigue? Because we don't want it to continue to get worse, because people start getting hopeless. People start not caring, as he already mentioned before. Anybody's played any kind of sports. When you're playing a sport, you start getting really, really tired and you're shooting a free throw. You think in my head, I don't even care about if I make it or not. I just want to be able to, get on one knee and rest. So people start to not
Weak,
care about things as much.
soft.
Yeah, fights start happening when people are getting tired. They're more likely to fight. People get more sloppier. People care less about altruism and things of that nature, and they get more into just survival.
I like to caveat that real quick, just to kind of reiterate my point. Only Facts and Stats earlier was talking about white fatigue. If white fatigue is a thing and Black fatigue is a thing, then it stands to reason that we're just dealing with fatigue in general, right? Black fatigue is not something that's
When I
My
found
bad, y'all.
specific.
myself.
Y'all can hear that.
What? Hey, no, what was that on there?
I don't know. It's
What
the played after the Black Fatigue.
this man right here? Just to
I
kind
messed
of
the flow up.
just to kind of peep into the microcosm that is just this conversation. We're talking about white fatigue being a thing and Black fatigue being a thing. It stands to reason that neither one of them are actually a thing outside of just, like Logan was saying, people getting tired of stuff that they don't like.
Yeah, I think there's a. Go ahead, Victor.
I got a delay, so I got to say something now. Look, I want to address the Black fatigue and the white fatigue part, right? Just for the comments. Black fatigue exists. Fatigue exists. Just like Fresh Snipe saying, there's a fatigue for everybody, right? Your fatigue is based on proximity. Okay, if you grow up in and around a certain ethnic group, and you don't have to deal with anybody but your ethnic group, you're going to be tired of the things that's in your ethnic group. We don't see every single piece of every single discussion. Now, statistically, we know Black people make up 13% of the population, and how Black people can be in every news media and every news place where Black people populate maybe 10 cities in the United States, okay? And on top of that, only a small percentage of Black people are actual criminals. So those people are locked up and confined. Now, the people that should be locked up, that are perpetuating the issue, they are in isolated places, and they're only terrorizing where they live, okay? They're raised by the same demographic of people that's primarily raised by single mothers, okay? they are all easily where you could put your finger on it, where they've always been. They just not paying attention to it and giving it the attention that it deserves. There's Karens out there that have been fatiguing everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's tired of Karens, regardless of race or whatever you come across, right? There's people of every ethnic group that deserves the same level of attention if it's impacting everybody across the board. Now, the reason why I believe that Black fatigue is popular and deserving of the attention that it's getting is because we know better. Okay, there's like no situation where you can act with the poorest behavior and think you're gonna get the best treatment. So the people that get that narrative are the ones that fit the behavior. Now, what we need to do is draw a line and say, hey, that doesn't represent everybody, right? And we need to redirect the people that that believe everyone fits that stereotype and make them go look at it. You know what I'm saying? And really see, do the black people that you know, by and large.
Hold on, Victor. I want to get everybody in. I want to get everybody. If you can wrap this, so I get only facts in here.
Let me finish what I like to say. Do the black people that you know fit the Black fatigue narrative, or is it the people that you just see being shown to you?
Good question. Good question. I want to get only facts so that we can answer Victor saying, is it a media propagating that the Black fatigue is the people that they're showing us versus our real experience? Well, the Black people. Only facts. So you got any only facts and stats? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I actually think Victor was making an excellent point, right? Where he was showing that in our communities, we have less, he said an insignificant or a minority, but it's not even a minority. It's almost it is definitely an insignificant minority. It's less than 1% of the total population of our community are ever charged with a crime, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Less than 1%, right? And so when I say white fatigue, what I mean is when you see these people are purposely misrepresenting our communities and what's going on in order to make us look, in order to paint us in a negative light by these usual tropes that honestly started at the end of slavery, right? What people don't know, that black men being criminal, black men being treacherous, black men being over sexualized.
Okay.
All of that started doing right after slavery with the movie Birth of a Nation. You know what I mean?
All
so
right.
like this is how long this has been going on. But now, if we were to now turn the table and say that all of the mass shooters and all of the serial killers show us really who the majority population really are, if we painted them with that brush, that would be that would be inconsistent with who they really are, right? Because majority of them don't look like that.
All right, so you said it, like you said, you agreed with Victor, and I see where y'all coming from as far as the media over exaggerating the black people, the people that they show in the media, that's a full representation of us blacks as a collective. I'm gonna bring Vulcan. What's your thoughts of what only facts and stats saying, and Victor?
Well, I think it's important to note that they bring up some really good points. Yeah. I think we should all just understand that it's on both sides, though. There's media slant that will protect the black image, and then there's media that will look for ways in which to destroy it.
Okay.
So both of them are happening. So the thing is that, you got your team that's winning. Sometimes you got your team that's losing. I want to address something that OnlyFacts is saying, though, to some extent, is that even though the criminal element represents a very small percentage of the black population, if you adjust for gender, because we know that generally, especially when it comes to violent crimes, it's not going to be women doing that. It's males. I think the other side, and this is part of my issue with guys who want to be apologists for the Black community is that sometimes they can exaggerate on the wrong side of it, where they're saying that, hey, look, it's not really a big deal. They're making us look bad. Well, there's some things that are bad about the Black community, like there are about other communities. But we can't be afraid to talk about it. We can't malign people that want to address the bad in the Black community. The Black community is a loud community. And I don't mean loud in the bad way. I mean, when you look at, we're overrepresented when it comes to media and movies and music and entertainment. You know, there's a more percentage of Blacks in movies than 13%. You know, same thing goes for sports. Same thing goes for other aspects as well. And so we're a very loud community. We have a major impact on culture that gets exported throughout the world. And so that being the case,
hey, Black people are the wave, we the vibe.
Yeah, and so that being the case, it makes sense to some extent. And so when we are influencing culture and what direction we're influencing the culture, we have to ask ourselves the question and have honest conversations about that. Some are going to flatter us, and some are going to be embarrassing.
Okay.
So this is what I would say, right? This is what I would say in response to that. I would ask you a question, Vulcan. If, let's just say, for instance, every homicide reported in America, let's just say if every homicide reported was committed by a Black man, right? Everyone, which you know is not true, but let's say everyone. What percentage of the Black male population do you think that would consist of if every homicide in America was committed by a Black man? If you had to guess, if you come off,
you're muted, Vulcan. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Freshly, yeah, less than 3%.
1/10 of 1%, actually.
Yeah,
right. Sense. But just like Victor said, and just like Freshly alluded to, when you look at the news, who do you see first up? The big bad Black man, right? And so I am a Black male apologist, to be honest with you. I am a Black male apologist because I know better.
Say
know better. Hold on, don't jump in now. Hold on. I know better than what media is actually saying. I know it ain't true, right?
Hold on,
well, it is true. It's just exaggerated.
What's not true?
No, it is true. It's just exaggerated.
Let's get the question. Vulcan asked the question. What is not true? Only facts or stats. Answer that.
That media, there is no media that protects Black males in America.
There we go. All right.
There's Black media.
I disagree with Vulcan when he says that, right?
There's Black media.
Hold on, Fresh. I'm gonna get you in, Fresh. All right.
On all levels. There is no media that protects Black males in America.
Just to get everybody on. He said it's not true. Vulcan made a statement earlier that it's both sides. You got a certain media that's making Black people look bad, and a certain media also protecting Black people as well. Fresh, you want to chime in before Vulcan respond to Only Facts saying that's not true?
Well, yeah, he Only Facts and Stats use a definitive. He said there's no media in America that protects Black people, but there's plenty of Black media.
Not Black people, Black males.
Oh, so Black males. Okay, he says no media that protects Black males. What's your response to that?
Well, but there is.
Okay.
Cool.
There's Black centric media. Now, are you saying again if you're using definitive meaning protecting them across the board, then there's none. There is none. There's also not a media in America that demonizes Black men across the board.
Absolutely.
So to that demonize them across the board, You're speaking in definitives. You're speaking in absolutes.
Yes, sir.
So there's never been a positive story about a Black man on Fox News. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that when you report,
hold on, that's a good question. You got to answer that.
I'm saying that when you report the FBI's uniform crime
facts, you're not answering the question. The question is.
I'm answering the question.
It's a yes or no question, though. It's a yes or no question. It is. But I asked a very defined question. Has there never been a positive story about a black man on Fox News?
Please,
That's a
Fresh,
yay or
answer
a
that.
nay.
Answer that, please. Yes or no?
Because again, I just to confirm, before I
Well, just
asked this
stop there. No,
question,
Fresh,
before you made your
Fresh,
last statement,
Fresh,
we talked about you
I'm gonna
speaking in
Fresh,
answer your
defense.
Fresh.
question.
Just stop there.
I'm
You
gonna
ask the
answer your
question and
question
let
if
him
you
answer.
answer my question after. No, I mean yes. Fox News will show
All right.
positive
Thank you for that.
stories about a black man. But let me ask you this:
All right.
Does is it necessary?
Well, I hate to
Go ahead, bro. Go
because if
ahead,
you
bro.
answer the
I'm not
question, that
looking,
means
bro.
Fresh might have a follow up. That was his point. So
No, I don't have a follow up other than to say that because the answer is yes, then your earlier statement is debunked.
there we go.
Absolutely, it's not debunked.
All right, there we go.
Any media that reports the FBI's uniform criminal reporting statistics as true is absolutely painting black males in a negative from the beginning. Absolutely.
Across the board, though, is the definitive. You said there is no
There's
media
no
in
media that
America that
reports black
protects.
males.
Correct. And
Just
then
because they're honest about something. Wait a minute, Christian. Wait
we
a minute,
further
All
went
right,
into it.
I'm
I
gonna be
asked,
moving y'all. I'm gonna be moving y'all at different times. Make sure y'all allow the person to speak, and so one at a time. So I'm gonna unmute y'all one at a time. Allow the person to speak. All right, who was talking?
so all I
bro.
was saying is when
Hold on, bro. If you
you
gonna
unmuted
mute,
us at the
bro,
same time.
if you gonna mute, bro, like how can we have a conversation if you muting, bro?
Well,
It's
conversation is supposed to be one person speaking, then the other one. If we're both
If you
speaking at the
don't
same
stop
time,
speaking, I can't respond.
I didn't ask you a question. I didn't finish my statement. I was actively making a statement. I hadn't asked a question yet. What were you responding to?
Your statement that because they make a positive story about a black man debunks what I said. What I'm
What
telling
did you
you
say?
is, if you'll let me finish, I'll tell you.
Well, we already heard. My point is, you already said a thing.
My point is, you're not listening. You're talking.
Because you were about to. Are you
no,
about
it's
to
not.
change the
Fresh. Let me
question?
make a statement. What you saying? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just
Only back.
because they report a truth about a positive aspect about a black man does not mean they are protecting black male culture in the media.
Okay, that's the statement. All right, so get Fresh. Go ahead and respond to that then.
Again, if we go back in the video, I asked you definitive questions that got us to there is no media that protects black men. You said none of them. And then I asked further questions where we got to Fox has never reported, right? Again, when you say that, if they are painting black, because again, you're saying protection. So what you're saying is protecting black men in the media does not include painting them in a positive light. So if you paint them in a positive light, that's not a good thing.
I,
What?
I
Is
What?
that a question?
Yes.
What is the question? Clarify the question for me.
The question is, do we count positive stories about black males in the news as protection? And if, real quick, if it's no, define protection.
No, a positive story that is true about a black man is not protection of black male image in media. Protecting black male image in media is telling the truth across the board in every story.
okay.
Okay. So to Vulcan's earlier point, then no one in media doesn't protect anybody. Every media has a slant that is sprinkled with a lie or sprinkled with a
That
slant.
wasn't Vulcan's
There's,
point.
All right.
Vulcan's point
that's
was that some media protects black culture and some media doesn't.
All right. So
right.
yeah.
But the statement he said before that, he said every media has a slant. Is that
I didn't
correct
hear
or
that part. I
wrong?
didn't hear that.
All right. So let's
Yeah.
bring y'all both. Yeah, y'all, both of y'all saying some good things on opposing sides. Vulcan is the one that actually made the statement for the audience that the media does do these two things. Anything you want to chime in or ask? Click clear up. Okay. So go ahead. All right. Go ahead, Fresh.
Unless somebody
No,
asks
I mean I don't.
me, but I mean,
Huh?
covered it pretty well.
Okay, all right. I thought you wouldn't chime in, but yeah. All right, so this I'm gonna just chime in for only facts and stats. I think what I'm hearing from Fresh, when you make absolute statements, that is never making those statements, you put yourself in a bind because he's asking certain questions that prove against your initial statement that it's no media. They never do this. When you make those type of remarks, it opens the door to show some contradictions. You know. So
That's
I
not
think.
true. He knows. He said never, and I said no. There is no media
No.
that protects black male image. He said never.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't say
yeah,
never.
yeah. And you define protecting. You said y'all have conflicted definitions of what protecting is, and that's
No,
what we look at.
I don't have the definition. I just wanted to know what his definition was.
Yeah, yeah. He defined it.
Because when you're
Absolutely.
saying protecting, what do you mean? And he
Telling the
said
truth.
telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
Right. So that doesn't exist in media. There's no platform that does that for anybody.
And real quickly, that there's no context in which protection means telling the truth.
It's my context.
Okay, well,
Right.
yeah, there's one context.
Can I say something about this?
Go ahead, Victor. Talk to us. Because
Hey,
your boy said
look.
you should not be silent right now. Antoine said it in the comments.
Antoine Christopher got two names, man. We can't trust him anyway. He got two first names.
hey, Vic, now ain't the time to be quiet. Talk to the people, bro.
This is the thing, right? I've been saying this for the longest because there's never been a time where black people have all been on the same sheet of music. It is a myth, it is utopian, and it is really need to be narrowed down to behavior. The people that want the smoke, that don't believe that the law applies to them, are gonna get their issue. You know, man, look, let God sort them out. I don't care. I'm not defending nobody who behavior is not conducive to being in my neighborhood. I live in peace. The people I know live in peace, and the people that could live in peace but opt not to and create terror wherever they live, they need to get their issue. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't care. I don't care about. I only care about being unified with people that's on the same sheet of music as me. I don't care about trying to get aligned with people that don't agree with me. I don't, because that's just the way that the world is in general. In reality, people need to leave a zip code and leave the past and think about how we're going to move forward and actually make decisions where we network with one another instead of having these stoic, stonewalled views. And think about having this conversation if it solves a problem. It doesn't solve a problem. A debate, like on this particular topic, only produces more debates. It doesn't establish dialogue.
Wait a minute. So you don't think debate solve problems? This man is clearly saying
no. I'm saying certain. No, let me finish. It's certain topics that do not produce a dialogue that solve problems. This is one of them.
Okay,
this topic is not going to solve a problem, in my opinion, because like even I'm a representation that I have detached myself from this particular, not on this show, but this overall macro topic, because you know why? Because somebody's always going to apologize for negative behavior. Somebody's going to always and so it does, like, because all one person has to come in and do and say, okay, if now we got people on this side and people on this side, what we gonna call?
No, I just want to interject. I get what you're saying. Go ahead, Fresh.
I was gonna say I agree with Victor, because typically these conversations, especially amongst black people, especially amongst black men, come to a debate where we're talking about black male or black accountability. I can see if I was saying that all black people, all black men are evil. All we're talking is accountability. And to Victor's point, there's always someone that looks like me or looks like us that becomes an apologist, right? Only Facts and Stats clearly say he's actually a black apologist. That's the bigger problem. Black accountability is not saying that black people are the problem that other people are saying that we are. It's saying take accountability for the things that are true.
Okay. All right.
There's not a trope of a black man that's been posted on media in any form or fashion that I don't know someone that fits that personally. There's not a thug, there's not a killer, there's not a murderer, there's not a gangster, there's not uh, a liar, a cheater, a thief. There's not any of those folks that have been put on the news that look like me or you that I don't know in person.
All right, let's get only facts and stats to respond to Fresh.
I guess my response, the only thing I can respond to is I'm not a black apologist. I'm a black male apologist for sure. And
Okay.
I think that being an apologist is just defending things when they might be controversial, right?
That's not what the definition of an apologist
What's
is.
the definition then? What's the definition?
Controversial or incorrect?
Not incorrect. Definitely not incorrect.
Well, I'm saying that you defend the black male image when they're being attacked with incorrect information.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. When false information is presented against the black male culture, I definitely stand against it.
So like something like African American males make up a disproportionate of the homicide victims and the homicide culprits. Is that something that you would agree with, disagree with?
I don't know that not to be true. I would say that definitely violent crimes are most likely crimes of proximity. So black men are likely the culprits in the majority of black male deaths.
Well, my question wasn't about
right. So I think I don't understand your question.
Yeah. The question wasn't about comparing, black deaths amongst each other because of proximity to somebody outside, but it'd be more so if you can compare when YT people, commit homicides on people that are not YT versus when black people do it versus when Asians do it. Would you say that in that situation, blacks do it at an exponentially higher rate?
To each other?
To each other and to others and outside. So to others,
no, not outside. No.
So like if you look at the rates of YT men unaliving black men and look at the rates of black men unaliving YT men, you can notice it's not even close. It's a
Why are you saying YT man? That's weird.
I don't know what explain.
Why are you taking a one syllable word and making it two syllables?
Because I don't know none
Let's
of these
fight about it.
rules anymore. So I don't.
If you can say black, you can say white.
Yeah, I've been seeing YT.
They're just colors, Vulcan.
But yeah, you're probably
hey, you ain't gotta protect the white man. He okay. He'll be all right. He can know we're talking about him.
I want to know.
Dang.
Victor got
Either that or Vulcan saying white men are too stupid to realize that YT is referring to them. Which one is it?
So I know Victor's got a point, and I do want only facts to address what I said when he gets a chance. So I don't know how you want to run that,
I think I got lost. Can you go back over it? If black men are
I don't mind going over it if you want.
Yeah.
Vulcan, real quick before you do that, are the stats that you're pulling from, are they confirmed stats? They're stats from a good source?
Well, if you're asking like my personal belief on the topic, the stats I'm familiar with, yes, but I was more so throwing it at him, but yes, I mean like every single site that I've seen, whether it's black sites, white sites, Asian sites, they all seem to show the same.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. They're from an actual source and not from like a barbershop conversation.
Yeah,
because he referenced the FBI stats earlier.
Right.
So
reporting. Yeah.
So only facts.
Yeah.
But my understanding of the stats is this: black people unalive white people at a much higher rate than white people unalive black people. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I don't have any. I'm actually looking to research it now. Let me see.
I would love to talk about this part right here because
I got you,
problem.
Victor.
Oh my.
If Fax is looking up something, go ahead and chime in, Victor.
Okay, but let me say this, man. We're not focusing we're having a general conversation, obviously, right? But when you start talking about Black people, we're not breaking down which Black people are responsible for that. We're not putting the attribution where it needs to go. We need to keep drilling down where the attribution needs to go. And I'm
It's
telling
niggas.
you right now, exactly. It's the niggas.
It's niggas.
And the niggas are on the single parent side of the discussion more than the two parent side. Meaning that if you came from a two parent home, you're less likely to be on the negative side of the statistic story. Okay.
I don't know. I know a bunch of fake gangsters on the northeast side of San Antonio who came from two-story, two-parent homes.
Please be finished. I'm saying you might know, but we're talking about more than or less than probability versus possibility. Okay. We're talking about those that fit the behavior. And if you're not willing to deal with that part, see, that's the part where you really got to offend the Black community. You got you single parent folks that's made the heathens that perpetuate the madness that all of us got to go out here and fight the negative stereotypes about. You guys got to step up. The men that's raised by women need to lead this conversation more than the men that's taking care of business and raising their children and taking care of their wives and making sure their sons and daughters become respectable adults. The single mothers that fit the parenthood model that drives most of the dysfunction and replicates it on a regular basis, that keeps reproducing with itself. The people that come off that tree, the branch need to be knocked off, and the fruit that come off of it is spoiled. They end up getting locked up, shot up, drugged up, getting pregnant in school. And hold up, so I see you.
We had a dialogue going on, so I want to get back to the dialogue.
Before they get you got to deal with specifics of this shit because we weren't raised like that. I'm 46 years old, and my parents did a pretty damn good job, and I ain't got no business arguing for the people that's running around getting locked up by the fucking National Guard. I don't fit it. I don't care, and I refuse.
All right, Victor, the rap for the day. Words for the audience. He doesn't care. He said that numerous times. Nah, shout out to my guy. language. All right,
I'll say this about Victor's point, and I was going to address an earlier point that he made.
So I actually feel him on 1.2, but go ahead.
But the thing is, the main thing for me is this: what's specific about the Black community, or special or unique about this conversation about violent crime, is that we're culturally more accepting about that type of thing, violent crime. We're more accepting about it, and so people that are not actually, as Victor eloquently said, people that are displaying that behavior, there are those who are just cheering on those that display the behavior. And
it's celebrated in our community.
Yeah,
through our music, our movies, our media, we celebrate it more than any other culture. Celebrates the negative aspects of their culture.
Yes, and I'll say it. I know only facts. I know he's looking some stuff up. I'm ready to hear you whenever you're ready. But the last point I want to make is, within the Black community, it's celebrated on two levels. It's celebrated obviously in the younger pop culture level, with as freshly said, the music, but it's also celebrated by the intellectuals, Black intellectuals, because again, Black intellectuals tend to be very liberal, to be very progressive, left-leaning. I'm not judging it, but meaning they're very much against patriarchy and imperialism and colonialism and stuff like that. So even the criminals in the community, they look at it as it's their way of sticking it to the man. So they may not approve of the criminal behavior, the violent criminal behavior per se, but the general movement to fight against the oppressor, they tend to be more sympathetic towards. You see that with Michael Eric Dyson with Nipsey Hussle. How favorable he speaks about Nipsey Hussle, who's a part of one of the most.
Oh, criminal! Just say it, Vulcan. He's a criminal.
He's a criminal. He's
a celebrated criminal. He's a criminal who celebrates his criminality. He doesn't.
You got a lot of Black intellectuals who celebrate and champion a lot of these guys who are criminals, that are very gifted and talented criminals. But the thing is, my point is saying that that's one thing that's unique about our community is that the intellectuals do it and our pop culture does it.
From childhood.
All right, so
From very early on.
I want to bring this up.
So this is what I did find. I did find that that there had been 533 victims of homicide that were white, that were perpetrated by Black or African American people. There were 243 Black African American people who were victims of homicide committed by white people. But something I did find that was very interesting was that where Black on Black homicides were 2,570, white on white homicides were actually more. It was 2,854.
Real quick, just to clarify, he said disproportionately. So we're talking about proportions here. We're talking about ratios. So white people, there's just more white people, so that number is going to be higher.
It's 5 times at least more white people.
It's 5 times higher. So they're going to have more white on white crimes. But proportionately, that was a statement that Vulcan made earlier when he made a statement about the crime stats. He said Black people disproportionately commit violent crimes against each other and white men.
His question was did white people commit homicides against Black people more, or did Black people commit homicides against white people more? That was his question.
No,
I didn't speak. I said it wasn't. But my point is, I didn't address his question. I said his statement. So his statement leading up to the question contextually was based on proportionate.
All right, first he said a statement was Vulcan for facts. Vulcan said he didn't say that. That's not the question he asked.
No, I understand.
The question you asked
I was addressing facts and stats, not you, Fresh. I was.
That wasn't
No, Vulcan said no. That's not what he asked you.
Wait, he hasn't responded. He's drinking.
My question
that wasn't your question?
Yeah, no, my question again, and
committed more homicides than others?
Yeah, my question had disproportionate and exponential in it. So it was.
Bro, you should rewind the question, bro.
Yeah, so it was a comparison between.
You should rewind the question, bro, because that wasn't your question. Your question was very simple. When we were
talking. Who does it more?
Who does it more? Yeah.
No, that was never the question. Because again, the whole reason why I'm bringing up proportions is to deal with the fact that we're dealing with ratios.
Yeah, that his opening statement to even lead up to the question started with disproportionately.
And that's why I got this. This is one of the top statistics make people angry. So let's throw some more out. If Black and Hispanic people are taken out of the equation, the U.S. and its 400+ million registered firearms will have one of the lowest firearm homicide rates in the entire world. And this is the stats. Firearm homicide rate per 100,000 people, dealing with proportion. Vulcan as Fresh is echoing the ratio. So U.S. Blacks, you see it right there, 19.8. U.S. Hispanics, 6.4. Finland, going on, so on. The U.S. white is 1.7. Canada is 1.8. France is 2.6. So this is the stats.
And those are proportions. Like when you're talking about, those are the proportions of that community, right? So yes, white people, we're talking about that percentage of white people, right?
Yeah, out of 100,000. Okay. Yeah, per 100,000.
Okay, it is a per 100,000. Okay.
Yeah. So that's firearm homicide. Just if I wasn't clear, firearm homicide rate per 100,000. This is all over the world.
All around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring some more context to the conversation. So. Yeah, just I chime in. I like what all y'all was saying, but what stands out, what Fresh and Vulcan are saying is, yes, there's more white people in this country, but we do the homicide at a more alarming rate, and well, like you said, is in proximity.
And so real quick, I want to clarify.
Capita, that's what I'm trying to say. Per capita.
Per capita, yeah. We're not against. I'm very pro-Black. So when we're talking about accountability, I want to re-emphasize this is not when I'm saying Black people should be accountable for the things that we actually are doing. This is not me denying the fact that what only facts and stats is pointing out exists. It just doesn't exist on its own.
What am I pointing out that exists?
That there's media slang that doesn't favor us. So I'm not saying it's not reported disproportionately.
I didn't
My point
point
is,
that out. Vulcan pointed that out. Vulcan said there was media that protected black community, and there was media that painted us in a negative light.
can you
That
do me a
was
favor and repeat the statement that you responded to? The statement I made that you just responded to. Can you repeat it? What I actually said?
that Vulcan said.
No. The statement that I made that you were responding to.
This is called the Still Man.
I can't hear you, brother. You, from what I
But
understand,
here,
you said I said something. I didn't say anything. I was responding to Vulcan when I said that. I didn't say anything. I was
but I
responding.
didn't. Right. Your initial. So Vulcan's response was to you saying that negative connotation news of black men is reported disproportionately negative in media.
No, brother. No, that's
So
not.
let me paraphrase. I said it a little smarter. I said it a little more intelligent. You said there is no media that protects black males in America. That's disproportionate. There's not any. Now that's a very definitive state. You also said that there are some that report positively, but if so facto, the math is mathing. If you say that, that means we are reported on negatively disproportionately in America, meaning there's a lot more negative slant in media on black people, black men specifically, than there is positive. Is that something you agree with or disagree with?
I disagree with any statement that is contrary to that. There is not a media that protects black male image in America.
So so again, the reason I asked you to steal Mammy is because I don't think you're actually listening to what we're actually saying. I think you're summarizing and interpreting what is being said, which is not intellectually uh, honest, right? When you're responding to something where you think you understand what I said, but it's not actually what I said, we're not on the same page. What I'm trying to do right now is get on the same page. So you said we are not reported positive images of black males is not reported as much in American media as negative images of black males. Is that something you agree with or disagree with?
I neither disagree or agree with it. I don't know.
Do you guys see what's happening right now?
I don't
Now
know.
when we go back and watch this show in full, what I just said, you said multiple times earlier in the conversation.
I said what?
Well,
That
part of
the
the issue
the
is
black male is not represented positively in American media.
He's not.
But
Intentionally, he's not.
that's what I just said. This is my point.
You made the point, but you made the point, and I agree with that. Sometimes media does show positive stories about black men. I agree with that point.
No. Again, I just stated what you just stated. And you say you don't agree with it, or you don't agree or disagree with. All I was doing was still manning your topic, which you said, "Hey, I don't agree with that," and then turn around and said the same thing. This is my like. If you actually listen to what I'm saying, we can have a conversation. It's not. I'm not being. Uh, I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to agitate. I'm saying I'm actually saying certain things that you were saying, and I think in your. I don't know if you're being adversarial or you're just not hearing me, but I'm saying what you're saying. I'm confirming what you're saying, and basically, you're saying you didn't say those things, and it seems like you're saying that because it's a part I said it. But my point is I parroted what you just said to you multiple times, multiple different ways, and you disagreed with them all, and then turned around and said the exact same thing. And the proof is there, right? The show is going to be there. So when the show goes on, you can go back and
All right.
watch it.
So how
Absolutely, the
about
show would be there, and the show would show
all
that I
right?
was responding to Vulcan when I said what I said.
All right, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and close it. I got you. We're gonna go ahead and close the segment out. What do y'all want? We're just gonna go each individual. What y'all want to leave the audience with about this topic? Let's start with only facts and move it all around into with Vulcan. What do you want to leave the audience with about this topic? Start with only facts and stats.
That black fatigue does not exist. That black people actually live in a constant state of, microaggressions and, subject to incidents of racism that have impacted them. But that what is really going on is white fatigue, where, they have become so caught up with showing the black male in a negative light, and us and me not getting a chance to get to the point of us achieving in spite of, has not caused them to now make up reasons for the world to see us negatively, and and is now causing them to begin to attempt to create a
Okay.
a new identity for black people with this black fatigue myth.
Okay. Got you. Good stuff. Fresh Snipes. What do you want to leave the audience about this topic?
Black fatigue is not a thing so far as everyone is fatigued of something. So
All right.
if the fatigue applies to everyone, then it's not a black. There's no such thing as black fatigue. There's black people who tired of stuff, white people who are tired of stuff, Asians who are tired of stuff. It's all about it's a difference in perspective. Everyone sees something a certain way that fatigues them.
All right, my guy Victor.
Black fatigue
I don't care. No,
is
just
black fatigue is a narrative that is associated with the single mother population and its behavior. I don't care what nobody says. It is a result of being overmothered, underfathered, too many children out of wedlock, and too many black men making excuses and black women making excuses that they wouldn't accept from their own children. We bring up black people, they say, well, what about white people? Well, what about this? Or well, what about that?
Those ain't my kids.
Never gonna, yeah.
Them kids don't
What
live
about,
here.
yeah, they don't live here.
What about
Exactly.
them? Yeah.
If your own kids said what some of the stuff that I've heard up on the night said, you slap their lips off. We're talking about our problem. You know what I'm saying? And if we can't be agreeable that you got to pick a side, that over here there's a solution. We got too many people on the fence that don't want to be offensive, but we're offended by everything and ashamed of nothing. Don't want to address the problem that deals with a specific demographic, and it requires judgment. And that's the thing that we don't like. But we make judgment every day, and then we get up here and say, I don't want to judge, but you make judgment on every single thing. You know what I'm saying? One way or another, you make a left or a right, but you can't make a left and a right at the same time. So until people get off the fence about this and quit being offensive and worried about everybody's feelings, then I am off board with trying to understand why everybody else feels so impassioned about being apologetic about it. Because you wouldn't do that for your own kids if they disrespected you and anything that you did, but we do it collectively, like Vulcan said, the intellectual will make an excuse and make room for stupidity, chaos.
I think they would do it for their own kids. That's the biggest problem. They wouldn't say they would do it, but actually speak louder than words. They are doing it.
And I'm talking about in principle, of course, they wouldn't allow that. And then, but in practice, they might do too. But what I'm saying is, online, we get up here and then all of a sudden we're so precise about everybody else's issue. But when it comes to us, I don't know.
Blind spot.
You know what happened to
Well, it's part of our culture. Disgusting.
Yeah, it's so part of our culture. No, man. Look, good behavior is part of our culture too. That's the part that established our culture. Good behavior. But nobody wants to talk about it from a disciplined mindset because it would challenge the fact that they were probably raised by a ratchet mama. And they got some ratchet people on the other side of their family they never want to talk about. They got some thought daughters. They got a gay son. They got all types of promiscuous tomfoolery. They got pedophile uncles, and they don't want to deal with none of this stuff because all of them trying to hump the pastor on Sunday.
All right.
Dang, that's crazy. Hey,
All right.
listen.
So
And next summer we're gonna have an event. All right, 100 single black mothers versus Vincent. We're gonna put them in the ring and give them all.
he would like
We're
that.
gonna give them all. We're gonna give them all 10-ounce gloves and let them go at it.
Tell them to come see Victor. I want all
Yeah,
the
Anton said
put them in the
accountability.
ring and let's see who comes out alive.
Anton said accountability is like kryptonite to black people. Wow. Wow.
Get out of
that's some
my
good stuff. Y'all
comments
did.
and get on camera.
That's some good stuff.
Real quick. Accountability is kryptonite to people in general.
Facts.
Most people don't want to take accountability, but the conversation we're having is about our community.
Facts.
Look, accountability is kryptonite to undisciplined people. There's
Run your mouth, Victor.
There's disciplined people and there's undisciplined people. We keep lumping people all in, but you're separated by behavior until we say get off the fence. When you get off the fence, you're going to decide to be disciplined or undisciplined. If you want to be undisciplined, then you're going to be over here with everybody else that's going to end up being a victim. Everybody that apologizes, everybody that makes excuses, everybody that's always talking about grace this. No, believe in God, like some of the people up here do. Then God is law.
All right. Your 10 minutes is up, Victor. Your 10 minutes is up. Appreciate the word. Hey, so we're just gonna segue. I love Victor's passion, especially when it comes to the relationship dynamics. Victor does have a unique perspective, and I want you to promote your book and stuff at the end. But we're gonna segue to the next topic, which is dealing with relationships. I got a question for the panel: who has more emotional intelligence? It's a young lady that's speaking about this, and I want to get y'all thoughts on this.
Yeah, men have emotions. Women have emotions. Okay, it's not that just men are rational and not emotional. But anyway, so I think that I find men are more willing to become emotionally intelligent, to do the work, to learn emotional intelligence once they realize what it is that they're missing. And once they realize what the impact that is having on their relationship, where I'm finding more women would claim that they're emotionally intelligent because people are telling them that they're emotionally intelligent, maybe because they have emotions or they're emotional, which is not being emotionally intelligent. Talk about emotions, that's not being emotionally intelligent. So, and more women not only like kind of think that they're emotionally intelligent when they don't even really have an understanding themselves of what it is, but then when it's revealed to them or just told to them that they don't have it, they don't have as much of it as they think, and this is how we know it because it's going to be evidenced in your relationship. Like it's not like a guess of like, do you have it or not? We can just see it because things are playing out. And I find that women are more defensive and closed to becoming emotionally intelligent. Anyway, I can talk about the reason why, but that's what I think.
Not only do I agree with you, I'm going to add this piece. I think that in regards to emotional intelligence, you had said this part about women they're aware of their emotions, they can express their emotions, but the way in which they choose to regulate or not regulate it, I think is a huge component of why I'm going to give my answer. I think that when it comes to male and female aggression, generally, most male aggression tends to come out obviously in anger and usually is physical in nature. For a lot of women, that's not the case. So it's substantially easier for us to see all the men that's not emotionally intelligent. We tend to be able to more easily identify those men. Highly problematic, oppositional, legal issues, getting arrested constantly, potentially doing jail time. Those are people that are fairly easy to identify on the male side when it comes to low emotional intelligence, right? With female emotional expressions, especially when it comes to expression, they'll lean more into gossip, innuendo, character assassination, lying, deceit, a lot of the things that will allow them to kind of skirt away from a lot of legal consequences. And it's a lot harder to discern those people or those women who quote unquote are emotionally unintelligent.
All right.
A big part of our life experience. You know, that dichotomy of like men aren't emotional, they're rational is damaging to men. And we really have to push back on that.
Yeah.
Men have emotions. Women.
All right, fellas. All right. So I just want to know. I'm gonna start with only facts. Anything what stood out. Definitely want to. Also want to ask who you think is more emotionally intelligent, women or men. But also add whatever. No, let's start with that first. Let's start and then in your explanation, y'all could bring up what stood out in that video. Do you agree with that?
I think men are more emotionally intelligent.
Okay, men. All right, let's go with Victor.
Yep, men.
All right, men. Oh, okay. All right, Fresh Snipes.
Men.
Yeah, man, y'all some. The feminists is gonna hate y'all. Vulcan.
They hate us already.
They
Yeah.
can't do anything about it.
I'm gonna have to go on this one because part of my issue with what they're saying and
Just answer the question, Vulcan.
is what I'm gonna bring up later on. But I'm gonna go. I think it's closer to a tie.
Okay.
He trying to get some cutty
I
last
see
night.
Victor head like
Vulcan trying to get some cutty tonight. Hey, stay safe, big dog. I got you. Hey,
So
hey, I'm with the
Vulcan
smoke tonight.
pandering?
All right, I got you. Don't even worry about it.
All right.
I'm here to take the heat today. All right, me and Victor we gonna shoulder this weight for you.
It might be a pump.
Man, took the shades off.
It's because he ain't got a haircut and his collar shirt on. I knew something was different.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I knew something was different about you.
I knew
Man,
it.
hey.
I knew it.
He got the wide collar, man. I don't even think his collar is ribbed, man. Oh, sexy flexy.
Okay.
What?
All right, let's bring my guy only facts and stats, man. Go ahead and explain, elaborate why you think men don't have a high EQ.
Yeah, so when you think about and shout out to the Ask a Brother podcast, man. That brother's dope, man.
Okay.
Jim St. James.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That brother's so dope, man. He really having a lot of success too. But when you think about emotional intelligence, being able to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others, you can just look at the everyday relationships. The way that men, the way that we do all those things with so much more savviness than women do in relationships is just a prime example that men in general that we have better emotional intelligence.
Okay.
Not only the fact that we do all those things, but we also protect the emotions of our women a lot better than they do for us, in our relationship. So that'll be my simple
Good point. I like that. I like that. We got a woman in the comments. Let me read this before I get to Freshly Snipes. Jessica said,
a lone woman in the content.
Most women
are not woman
emotionally intelligent. Women know their emotions but don't understand them. Men tend to not be allowed to show their emotions, so they regulate it easily, but are better capable of regulating their emotions. Shout out to Jessica Lynn. Oh yeah, that's that word. What's my guy Victor? Sexually disciplined women have better emotional intelligence than sexually undisciplined men. Interesting. All right. All right, let me get.
I agree with that. Come on, Jess.
I do.
All right. What's up? All right, Fresh. You say yeah, men. With your chest.
Well, again, to reiterate what Only Facts and Stats said earlier, I love that he picked up, right? He paraphrased the actual definition, right? So it's the ability to recognize, understand, and manage. All those three tenets go into emotional intelligence, which men are better at for several reasons. But the one that I want to focus on is uh, societally, we require men to manage their own emotions early on, while young women are told that their emotions are natural, right? Other people have to manage their emotions or manage themselves around their emotions. So a lot of times I've had this conversation multiple times. I don't actually blame women for that because it's how society is set up. So what Jessica said in the comments, we're not allowed to show those emotions, right? We're told that showing those emotions is weak. So we're taught to manage our own emotions, and then even as we move into the relationship phase where we're dealing with women, it's so common that it's memeable at this point in time, where men got to deal with, they got to work around, they got to adjust, they gotta address and manage their young lady's emotions because she's a young lady. She's not seen as weaker because of it. She's not seen as less of a person because she has her emotions. Her emotions are allowed to be unregulated by her because guess what? That's our job. You got to deal with that, not me. I had a bad day at work. I come home, I take it out on you. You can't hold me accountable for my bad attitude. You're
Mm-hmm.
my protector, right? And that's when the traditional man is called upon, right? In those moments. Oh no, you're the man. I'm supposed to be able to do this, right? You should never. I don't know who said this. Don't argue with women.
Oh man.
Me?
He's on the spot for him.
Was it
Yeah.
Victor?
Yes.
Okay. So in the Watchmen, I know that goes into a little more detail. I think actually now that I remember, we dove into it a little bit more into the context of that statement. But you're not the only person who share. You're not the only person who I've ever heard say that. And most people are talking about period, right? Don't argue with women because they're women. But if you dig a little bit deeper, it's mostly because what we're talking about right now. Why would you be arguing with women when they're not emotionally disciplined? Where are you going to get with that?
All
So
right.
I think it's mostly society's fault, and we continue to perpetuate it. We're in a renaissance now where we're calling out and requiring accountability, and we have women like Jessica who are calling that type of stuff out. So I think we're getting somewhere, but we got hundreds of years where that wasn't the case.
All right. Let's bring my guy Victor in here. What's up, man?
Man, if women were more emotionally intelligent, we'd live in a matriarchy. Okay. The government would be matriarchal. We would have, we wouldn't have to have deliberation about women's rights. Men would automatically be subservient to women. We would do everything for them, but it's not the case. You don't have a credible institution of ethics and control without men being part of it. We complain that women being part of certain institutions disrupts the fabric of how an institution runs. We don't really understand consequence through a woman's eyes because typically they raise children that never get told no and they end up getting locked up, like I keep saying. A
Unless there's a
man,
man in the house saying
a
the
man,
no's.
there's plenty of studies that confirm that men are the stewards for emotional control because they keep saying that we need more fathers in the home. Why? Because they need the men there to help the children regulate their emotions. They don't talk about women helping children regulate their emotions unless they're single parents, bro. Like the men are there to help everybody process and rationalize consequence. Because guess who gets their freedom threatened for no reason all the time? It's not women, it's men. Okay. Who issues consequence? God's law is about consequence, right? And authority. You can't, effectively administer authority and not cross the line of being a dictator without a man having enough emotional control to know what's good or bad for people. Because, like y'all said earlier, men also manage the emotions of other people, the expectations of other people. Men civilize the world so men and women can cohabitate and create children with each other. And if men really wanted to run it the way they wanted to, 1,000 men can roll up and detain 10,000 women, and women couldn't do nothing about it. But if you took 1,000 women, they couldn't contain 100 men without arguing over who pretty enough to lead them.
My God. Yeah.
And before I go on that statement, women will make a baby with the wrong man, but they make a sandwich for the right. There's no emotional control in that. Flip that. Don't you ever say
Hey, Enos.
What's up?
I stole that one, bro.
We definitely should have had a woman on for this topic.
Shut up, man.
Hey, regardless of how right we are, we look crazy right now. 5 men on women gonna be like, of course they say that's all niggas up there. Damn.
I'm gonna get my wife to react to it because she
Hey, I'm nobody's inward, man.
Calm down, Enos. My brother.
Yeah. Let me bring
Black King.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Look at me, King. All right, shout Vulcan. What's your thoughts? You the only one on this. Well, Vulcan's gonna be the voice for the women because he says it's like a tie. So be the voice, man. Hold him down.
Vulcan gonna be the feminine voice in this conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I mentioned that it was closer to a tie, and I didn't like the way the two people on the show were approaching the conversation. I think that that exchange, I didn't think it was all that helpful. It was helpful to some extent, but I just think anytime you're approaching a conversation, what you want to first do is get all the variables on the table. So one of the things about we're talking about emotional intelligence, it encompasses a lot of factors from how you're able to feel things or vibe things or discern things outside of yourself to how you regulate your own self. Now, what the studies seem to suggest, what we observe in real life is that men are better at some aspects of EQ and women are better at some aspects of EQ. Then you have to get into parsing it out, which one's happening more. So if women happen to be better at the one that we do more often, then does that make them better? Or does it mean, or do we rate them differently? Is regulating your emotions higher than being able to read a room better? You see what I'm saying? So everybody's gonna have their own rubric on how to determine that. There's no tablets from the heavens that's gonna tell us which EQ variable is higher on the list or hierarchy than the other one. So that's why I say it's more closer to a tie, because of the fact that they're just women meant to be stronger in different aspects. So all I want the audience to do, and anybody on the panel, is just ask Google, ask AI, what are the different variables that go along with emotional intelligence? And you're going to see a list of like 10 to 20, 30 things. And then you go through each one and say, which one do you think women are better at? Which one do you think men are? Then you can tally it up that way if you want to, but that's only going to get you halfway there. Then you got to figure out which one occurs more. Men may be better at one than women, but that may only occur once a month. And the one that women are better than men at may occur 5 times a month. So that's when you start to get into the weeds of the whole issue. Can you put I think it was Jessica's comment back up? I don't know that I agree with that comment that she made. Sexually disciplined women have better emotional intelligence than sexually undisciplined men.
No, be on her side, bro.
Yeah, I don't know that
come over here. You on her side.
Yeah, I don't know that to be true. I mean, sexually disciplined women aren't necessarily more emotionally intelligent than sexually undisciplined men. That's not even relevant. Emotional discipline doesn't have much to do with sexual discipline. So I don't get the correlation there.
You got disagreement.
Those are two different topics. Somebody's emotional intelligence and somebody's sexual.
Hold on, Victor, you want to respond to that?
Yes, let me tell you what, because when I wrote this book, that this statement is based off of, would you say that who you're attracted to and who you choose to engage requires a balance of your emotions?
You asking Vulcan, you muted.
Well, you muted. Would you say that who you're sexually attracted to is contingent upon your emotional discipline.
Who I'm attracted to physically or non-physically?
Is it sexual attraction or sexual interaction?
Well, you got sexual attraction, like she said, like you said, you disagree with that. In sexual
That's
attraction,
biology
how
and
much?
culture.
Well, no. I'm asking a very specific question. Does your emotional discipline determine who you engage with sexually?
Okay, engage. Okay, that's what Fresh was asking you. Yeah, to some extent, yeah, it has definitely a factor in that for sure.
Okay, and the extent, is it important or not? Do you think you could get the same result with a woman if you don't engage her emotions at all? Do you think you get the same outcome?
Again, you're going to get varying outcomes. The difficulty with that is so many variables.
I'm asking very specifically, do you have to engage that woman that you're attracted to emotionally in order to get the desired outcome in some way, shape, or form?
It depends.
See, this, like the accountability conversation we had earlier, Freshly, like when they say it depends, they always
He's saying, do a girl gotta like you for you to get the box, bro? Come on.
When it's women, when it benefits women, it's always it depends.
I told you he don't got his collar. He don't got a collar on today.
Yep. So
What do you want to respond to that?
Say it
What's
again.
your response to that?
Which one, with Freshly or Victor?
Don't respond to me. I'm obviously joking. Come on, man.
Not that you ain't got the collar shirt on. Not response. To Victor said when it comes to females.
See, y'all be trying to turn me into a state prosecutor.
Hey, let me see the sleeves on that shirt, Vulcan.
It's short.
Oh man! Hey, you gotta let some of your testosterone breathe. You bottlenecking your testosterone with that shirt, man. Let it open it up. Take it off.
I can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying?
That's how funny talks.
Hey,
what am I saying? Italian.
So
okay.
my point is right. When you can't answer something directly, it's because your emotions are blocking you from making the choice. It's not your intelligence. It's not other information. It's you either will do it or you won't do it. See, emotional intelligence is a level of manipulation involved too, because there's some people that have to be a lot more crafty to engage and get some sex, right? At a minimum. So they have to lie and have to play on somebody's emotions, right? Who does that more, men or women?
Okay, well, real quick, I just want to make sure, what's the disagreement you have?
The disagreement here is that he said that he disagreed with Jessica's statement about sexually disciplined women have better emotional intelligence than sexually undisciplined men. Sexually undisciplined men do not have control over their emotions, so they will lie, or manipulate others, and all of that, and still end up in bad situations. That's why a single father with baby mamas don't have no emotional intelligence, and generally speaking, they're raised by a mother that's just like them.
All right.
Hey,
So
let me ask you a quick question.
All right, go ahead, Fred.
Go ahead.
I don't know if that's true across the board in terms of accessibility. Do you think a Chris Brown is lying and hustling and playing on the women's emotions to get sexual interaction?
No, because
he is sexually undisciplined. He is sexually undisciplined.
They meet their equals, okay? So the women are sexually, there's no victims, there's only volunteers, okay?
I'm not saying he's taking advantage of them. I'm just saying he's not sexually disciplined, but because he has access, he doesn't have to do the things that you're talking about men have to do. So I don't know that his sexual promiscuousness, that's not the word.
Let me finish. I know what you're saying, Freshly. Let me finish my statement so you can understand where I'm going to. A sexually undisciplined man or woman is only going to attract equal because they're in agreement for wanting the same thing. And generally speaking, most people that are raised the same way are going to be attracted to each other because they're going to have to engage with each other on some level of familiarity. You know what I'm saying?
That's not like a 50-50 split, though. You said
No,
who does it
but
more?
it's not. Here my point. And the reason why I can quantify this, there's only less than 30% of people that come from two-parent homes. 80% of children born out of wedlock are born to 75% single mothers. Those women reproduce with a percentage of men that's less than 20%, and they're all raised in the same home format without fathers. So the people with less emotional discipline, which is quantified by the prison statistics and all the other mental health data, because, oh yeah, and of course, 15% of women are also on antidepressants. So that
Wait, you
shows the lack
said
of
you said the less sexually disciplined are women, and that there's a statistic from the Bureau of Prisons that is there more women locked up than men?
No. You missed a piece. What I'm saying there. There's men
Okay,
that's
yeah.
locked up that's raised in the single parent home structure. When we're talking about women, though, they are having more children out of wedlock than men. Okay.
Okay.
With a small percentage of men, and that same small percentage of men is raised in the same single parent structure that creates inmates. They're all symbiotic. They all connected to each other. And I can argue this down to the dirt because the men and women that are raised with their fathers have a different level of discernment than the men and women that are raised without.
Okay.
It's just like
are you saying good fathers or just fathers? Period.
I'm saying good.
We'll say decent fathers.
No, I'm talking about disciplined fathers.
Right, but how many men does that apply to? Even if they're in the house, that doesn't mean they're good at it.
Well, here that's nuance, and what I'm saying is because like when you start talking about,
but in a conversation like this, where we're talking ratios, nuance is important because it puts numbers on the other side.
Okay, I get that part, but accept what I'm saying is true when I'm saying it. Okay, and play along.
Wait, no,
right?
That's not how the show works.
Well, no, but I get that. But understand what I'm saying because you may not have to ask certain questions. I might answer it if you could just go along with what I'm saying in theory, right? Because I've actually done the research on this. That's why I'm willing to entertain the question. So,
no, I understand that, but I don't.
Yeah,
all right, fellas, we got one more topic. I want y'all if y'all go ahead and
well, okay. The number one argument that quantifies poor behavior of children in a home is the absence of the father. So you can't have that argument and then say that people that grow up with fathers are more emotionally intelligent.
Okay. All right, so look at Victor. Wait on Fresh. So all right, so that's why I just want for our viewers and audience, Victor's going. He said his closing statements what he want to leave the audience with. I want Fresh to do the same until we get to the last topic.
What do you mean leave the audience with? Oh, in terms of the overall topic?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, society has shaped us to operate how we operate. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means it's acceptable for men to, we're taught as young boys to manage our emotions. We're taught whereas women are not taught until they're damn near adults that their emotional, their reactions or their decisions based on emotions have consequence, right? Men are taught as young boys to deal with failure, right? You may not be tall enough. You may not be fast enough. You may not be strong enough. You're going to fail early, right? You may not make the team. You may not be on the first you may not make a team. You got to work harder. You have to put your emotions away. You have to go back in. You got to grind. Women are told from the get-go, you're beautiful, you're a princess, you can have whatever they want. And to some extent, it's our fault in terms of men, right? We perpetuate that continuously to this day. I know bald-headed fathers across the world that tell their daughter it ain't nothing they can't have and ain't nothing they can do. And because, we set that up, that's how it is. So while I think men are more emotionally intelligent, I think it's because it's been designed that way thus far. So I don't know how much fault can be, placed on the individuals in that hierarchy, but that is how it is.
Okay.
So the statement is true, but the reasons are the reasons.
All right. So I want Vulcan, go ahead, give your closing statements. Where do you want to leave the audience before we get to the last topic?
Yeah, I think I made my point pretty clear for everybody to understand. It's just when it comes to trying to figure out who has more emotional intelligence, it's going to be very difficult, as I mentioned before. But my approach is to the conversation and for the audience to understand that any time you're trying to figure something out, I forgot the quote that says you break the problem down to the smallest pieces until it's more manageable. So if I'm going to ask a question about EQ, who has more, or whatever the case may be, I'm not going to start off going off my anecdotal, a perception of things, which is nothing wrong with having that as your starting point, right? You got to start somewhere. But the reality, what you first want to do is get all the variables on the table. Let's first figure out what is emotional intelligence. Let me get a list from a book, from the internet, whatever it is, and then you go point by point, and then you see which one you think is more towards the ladies, more towards the men. You may have to do a little bit of research in there, and then you can come up with some kind of starting point. Then you got to figure out which one happens every day. Some people are not in situations where they're, doing all the different elements of emotional intelligence every day. So it may be, like I mentioned before, maybe men do this particular one better, but you don't do it as often.
Where do you stop the breakdown though?
Where do you stop?
Yeah, where because you can break. I mean, as long as you can break down pieces until they get microscopic, you can keep breaking them down. Well, at some point, you break it down till the problem becomes unmanageable again. Got too many pieces.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you're 100% right. That's why I say you break it down till it's manageable. Once it's manageable,
behavior and outcomes, data and statistics of behavior and outcomes tell the story.
Yeah, we know that women are better at reading rooms. They're better at being able to gauge emotional intelligence. They're better at knowing what to say, what not to say in different situations, generally speaking, compared to most men. And so that's on the ladies' side. On the flip side of it, when it comes to regulating your own emotions and stuff like that, being more open to criticism constructively, or not when it's not constructive, understand the ramifications of certain slights. That's something that men tend to be better at because the consequences are more severe in the male community. With ladies, but also
I think you can break down women knowing what to say and how to say it in certain situations is more of a condition of their gender than anything. I think women have to be better at that skill because they're more vulnerable physically.
Well,
there's a lot of things that I can say in public that a woman can't say because I can fight. I weigh 260 pounds. I'm 6'4".
Yeah, well, I think also the thing is that, but men are more victims of violent crime as well, like 60% more. So women may feel more vulnerable, but in fact, men are more vulnerable to attack.
They're not more vulnerable; it just happens to them more often. Vulnerability does not.
Y'all got to be different than mine.
Huh?
So y'all really got to be different than mine because I be seeing women throw bowling balls and hitting each other, running each other over with cars, twerking after they beat each other up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's across the board, all races. Like they compete with each other to be pregnant by the worst man.
Yeah, but by far we know men are more violent.
Yeah, and you said statistics and outcomes. The numbers nowhere say women are more. Yeah.
I'm talking about behavior. Yeah. I'm talking about like when we start talking about nuance, behavior, and stuff like that, things that should point you into the direction of how it goes. I get it. The men get locked up and that's the point. There's accountability for men getting locked up.
Okay.
Women hurt their children and get I'm just men get locked up for what they do. I'm just like there's no slight.
I get what
The
you're saying.
law
I get what you're
is
saying. It's more likely for them to get suffer harsh consequences,
the
or not
law
harsh
is designed
consequences
to
for
police
So
being
are you
violent.
men.
are you saying the statistics that we have on this are inaccurate, skewed?
No. I'm in agreement with you, Freshly. I'm not saying that the statistics are wrong. I'm saying
Okay.
that there's plenty of statistics that account for locking up violent men and men that fit the bill. Okay.
Okay. All
What
right, so
I'm
that's a
saying
good.
is, what I'm saying is that who's less likely to be dealt with in full consequence when it comes down to the law? And it's not men, it's women that always get a pass.
Okay. And so that the point that Vulcan was with, because we're gonna move on to the next topic. He was just saying that so he was saying to Fresh that men are more vulnerable, more likely to be victim because they are on the other side of the violence. They are more vulnerable than women when it comes to violence. And I think Fresh disagreed from what I remembered. Okay, so I wonder, Fresh, we will just move because we got like a few minutes left. Let's just move on to the next topic. And I want to get y'all thoughts on this next video.
I want to point out that we are
Yeah.
stepping on a lot of Vulcan's points and talking talking time. It's okay. I just want to acknowledge that we're doing it.
Well, I told Enos before the show I was gonna let everybody else have the floor. That's why, even with stats and facts, I'm like, it's not a big deal. I told Enos for the show. I'm
not saying you have a problem with it. I'm just being
Yeah.
accountable for what I know is happening.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, for sure. But I'm enjoying the exchange from everybody, so I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't even let Vulcan talk. Talk all the time. It's my turn.
All right, fellas.
Oh, is that Keita Rose?
Yes. No, I don't know.
Somebody else is delusional.
Let me hold on real quick.
What's up? Because what she about to say, I want to get y'all thoughts on this. You ready? Fresh?
Go ahead.
All right, let's go.
If I'm walking down the street and I see a black man with a white woman, there's a weakness in him. Ooh. Something in him is weak.
Keita Rose.
On the other side, I think when I see a black woman with a white man, despite all the historical context that we know that sits behind that, I think, she must have got she's tired. Like she must have got so fed up that she's getting to rest now.
She's getting to rest. Shout out to Angry Man. Talk to us, Victor. Agree or disagree?
Do I agree or disagree with her? Sure, I'll agree with her because she can only talk about what she sees.
All right. Hey, it's my sound.
Come on, Victor. Be more controversial. Golly.
No, I'm coming back, bro. It's okie doke, man. Let me do my thing.
All right. So you said you agree. Let's bring it on to Fresh.
Sure, I will accept her premise.
All right. Fresh, talk to me.
For context, I actually do agree with Victor because she's only saying what she thinks. I disagree with her premise.
All right.
I think her premise is incorrect. The way what she thinks when she sees that is incorrect.
Vulcan.
Yeah, I think the root of her philosophy is going to be grounded in some type of form of Marxism. And when you have this patriarchal perspective,
Make him answer the question. Do you agree or disagree?
Agree or disagree? Appreciate that, Fred.
Yeah. So for me, I would say that
I heard the Marxists. I'm like, well, we going there?
You get out of hand.
Yeah.
You agree or disagree?
So I would say that I'm sure that happens. What she's saying is true at times, but generally, I think she's missing the boat on that one.
All right. So last time, let's talk to me, Victor.
So I agree with her because she can only have what she can afford, and it don't have anything to do with money. See, from the perspective and what she's speaking on, right? it's based on the men that she can't attract and all the men that have rejected her and every man that she chose that probably didn't work out. Women can
I should have
only
never
speak
doubted
on,
you, Victor.
I told you. Look, you gonna quit being
I should have never
disrespectful.
doubted you.
Look, y'all gonna stop being disrespectful up here, man. Respect your elders, man. Like, look,
He gonna give you what you want every time.
every time. I don't smoke. Like, no, like women can only look. Here's the thing: women's criticism of men is only based on the men that they can get kids from, sex from, and attention from. They can't talk about the men that they can't attract. They can't talk about the men that don't want them. So it's rightfully so and stifled, and it's a source of being emotionally wounded, like I talked about before, where they can look at a black man in an interracial relationship and automatically default to weakness because that reflects the type of men he's had the most experience with. And generally speaking, those women are raised by women that had the same outcome with men. So it's only right that they have a misandristic view of the men that they can't attract. But then when they look at a black woman that probably they immediately trauma bond with them and create a fairy tale ending because they think that they deserve something. Really, nobody deserves anything because the source of entitlement that is associated with a black woman's utopian view of relationships, it really is insulting still to white men because they act like they settle for white men and then try to act like black men lost when they got chosen by someone outside of their race. So ultimately, this whole fairy tale, and it makes sense on social media.
Oh, see, it'd be lag. Okay, I got you. Because sometimes your screen will pause. Like, no, you stop talking to that. All right, shout out to Victor. What's up, Fresh and Snipes?
I'm gonna keep mine short and concise, man. I disagree with her because she's obviously arguing from a place of bias, a very small bubble of her own experience. Is not an objective opinion or thought or statement that she made in any form or fashion. And to her credit, she actually is not saying that. Now we're taking we're taking a bit of a leap, not a leap that doesn't make sense to take, but we are. She's not saying that that's what's happening. She's saying this is how I look at it. It's just a flawed point of view for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah, she said it with passion. It's something weak in him.
Yeah.
That's what she thinks.
Emotion in that, man.
Yeah.
She had some vitriol on that mug.
Yeah,
I spit upon you.
Yeah, I spit to her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but a black woman with a white man. Congratulations, Queen. You got your prize.
Yeah,
What?
you tired. Yeah, that's wild, man.
What? Well done, black woman. You finally got your rest. Crazy work. Crazy work.
Yeah, man.
But opinion is opinion for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so y'all familiar with her? You knew her name first. That's my first.
No. I thought that was Keita Rose.
Okay.
But it's not Keita Rose.
Okay.
Keita Rose she's an intelligent young lady. She states her positions eloquently, but she's very, very one-sided on a lot of her statements and opinions.
And you know why she's like that?
Which the one we
because of her experiences.
Her experiences, and that's the thing. She relates to that entire community that has the same shared experience because women resonate when they trauma bond with each other. What she represents is the feminine version of what the red pill community is. The red pill community is a bunch of dudes that's had a negative experience on the surface level with the same type of woman. because they're typically raised by the same type of women that they've been attracted to. Just
so
like
they begin to make broad, sweeping generalizations because of their own personal experience, which is wild.
Yep.
You didn't get no
Single
play in high
mothers.
school. That don't mean every woman is a B. Because
like,
that one girl hurt your feelings. Calm down, big dog.
Right, because the red pill dudes that fit the worst descriptions of red pill. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the guys that are, like incels, right? There's incels and then there's femcells, and all of them are raised by the same type of woman. Because they brothers and sisters. Man.
All right, fellas. So we're going to close it out. So everybody want Victor, go ahead and start with the closing statements, man. Overall, promotion, topics, whatever you want to say.
Look, everybody gets relationships are reflective. That's why it's really easy to tell where it came from. The way you react to stuff tells people how you was raised without saying anything. The only thing that speaks for you, whether your lips are moving or you're sitting still, is your behavior. So try to run from it all you want to. Eventually, the way you respond to stuff is going to be the way that you're going to be remembered. And you're going to be remembered how you impact people positively or negatively. So your behavior is your ambassador.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Fresh as snipes.
Self-introspection that turns into self-accountability, that turns into accountable actions is the only way forward for everybody.
All right. So thank y'all for tuning in to Vulcan Soapbox. I'm here with my guys. I want to thank my guy Fresh, Victor, Vulcan. And
because he's not here, I'm going to go ahead and hit y'all with this, even though I hate doing it, because I know he was going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
And only facts, it got a little heated earlier, but that's what happens when we talk about certain topics, man. That was some good stuff, good content.
Good debate, man. Good wholesome debate.
Yeah, man, we got to do it more often. All right, till next time, fellas, everybody, take care. Peace.
I'm here to stay on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
This is the hottest show on the planet right now.
What's the debate?
Ain't no debate.